I was supposed to be 6 feet tall.
You guys were all supposed to be a 3-on-3 fucking basketball team. We ruined our lives.
But instead, we're 3 witches with a podcast.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Busy Phillips, Caissie St. Anne, Shantira Jackson. We are all collectively doing our best. Thanks for hanging in with us. If this episode was a little late to you today, that's on me. But you know what? I'm doing my best, guys. Doing my fucking best.
Wait, what are you doing at your desk?
Okay, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to do it on the phone with you. Okay, so I've been working so much, you guys, and it's been wild. A journey, if you will. And part of it is that there's something called a giant snowstorm nor'easter heading our way.
Ooh, a nor'easter.
Yes.
I've heard of those.
And so it's everybody's in a tizzy. Then also, not sure if you've heard about it, a global pandemic has hit the country and the world.
I'm
and
familiar.
It has affected work practices and has made things tricky. But we are very safe as we can be following all these protocols. I have to say, for those of you at home who are like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Well, I do want to say there's a lot of like sound effects happening because you're doing something
okay, guys, I'm trying to open this package because guess what was shipped to me and then was got derailed, sent somewhere else. And then I've been working so much and it showed up today and I was like going to have it sent out to our location, but it was so far away. We were shooting so far away. And then I was like, that's not worth it. It's our merch.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It took me too long to get there. I'm sorry.
It's like a very dramatic unboxing.
First of all, Shantira hasn't seen this.
I haven't seen it.
Caissie's seen a bunch of it. Have you gotten it? Case?
No, I've not gotten it. We're prioritizing it going to you because, you know,
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, Shantira, I think you're gonna love this.
Yeah, I already love that.
Yeah, this is like a little.
I love the inside of it.
I know, and it's a little track jacket.
I love zhuzh on the inside of stuff.
Me too. I love it.
Me too.
I
love zhuzh.
There's a penny on the inside for you to find secretly. And is there a penny in the pocket of this one? There's like secret pennies to be found in the merch, guys.
Oh,
it's so cute. I'm obsessed.
So fun.
I'm obsessed with the pennies. Okay, and then there's these cute exercise leggings that you can wear with this, or you could wear it in the snowstorm. And guys, lots of people. Wait, can I tell you? Got lots of people. I've been wearing those leggings because I've had them for a while.
Yeah.
Because I needed to try them to make sure that they were up to snuff.
Yeah.
Up to code.
If I was going to be shilling them out to you people, I needed to know that I could do a leg fit workout in them and that they would be good.
Okay. Yeah.
They are. So anyway, they're great. And lots of people have DM'd me asking me, what are those cute leggings?
Oh.
And I've had to be like, I don't know. I haven't answered. Anyway, so the cute leggings and this little top go together. And then there's the sunset sweatshirt. Look.
Oh, that's so good. That's a very Arizona vibe.
It's a sunset like Arizona, and then there's little soft sweatpants to match ish. But it's like you're a little setting sun, and then there's a cozy setting sun blanket so you can wrap yourself up in a sunset.
Love it.
Love it. Wait, you guys, today on set, I said I was telling the saga of the bathtub in this rental place.
Yeah.
And just like in between setups. And one of the crew guys was like, what did you just say? And I was like, oh, I just said I'm a real bath bitch. And he's like, how is that not on a t-shirt? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe we should put it on a t-shirt. These are great, guys. I'm real happy with this merch. So let's launch it. It's launched.
It's
Yay!
Well, swipe up.
Swipe up. Swipe up. Guys, my Mexican food just arrived.
Oh, wow.
This is going to be the grossest podcast of all time.
It's a real rainbow of ripping tape and chewing tacos.
You guys.
That looks good as hell.
It does look good.
All right. What are you guys doing your best at this week? Caissie, I have something that you're doing. You're doing your best at 2 things as far as I'm concerned, but I want to hear what you think you're doing your best at. Shantira, same. Shantira, you start, go.
Okay. I've been doing my best at, this might sound weird, but like kind of like feeling and living in this body, because I have my breast reduction surgery will be tomorrow or today, depending on when this comes out, the 17th of December. So like I did some yoga last night. I'm going to go skateboarding Wednesday night and just kind of remember all the ways I felt doing the things that I like to do before, like my body's different for like a really long time. So like I've been really like trying to like not what do you call it? Not sensual, but it's like really trying to feel what it's like to be in my body before it's in like a whole new type of body.
I literally almost just started crying. I was trying to eat. I put myself on mute and I was trying to eat, but now I feel very emotional about this. And
this is my last Tuesday in this body. And then tomorrow will be my last Wednesday in this body. And last weekend was my last Saturday in this body. So it's like I'm trying to remember what it feels like to be like, tomorrow will be my last day in this body the way that it is. So that's what I'm doing my best at. Ritualize. That's what the word I was looking for. Trying to ritualize what it feels like to be in this body.
Go ahead. I
love you.
I know, I'm really crying.
But that's what I'm
so
doing.
incredible. And
it got me a really long way. Like this body's been with me. Obviously, this might sound weird, but this body's been with me my whole life. And it has worked a lot of jobs and been really sad and been really happy and moved all across the country. And like this body will be different on Thursday.
I think this is so fucking incredible and also really important for people to hear, because can I tell you something? So I had LASIK eye surgery, which is, you guys know that's
the off-brand.
The off-brand. The other version that's not LASIK, it's LASAC.
It's like when I lived in Brooklyn, there was a restaurant called Kentucky Fried Chicken.
It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it's LASAC. And I've worn wore glasses my whole life. And I could never see. Like I really couldn't see. I had very, very, very bad vision. And I remember in the months after my eye surgery, I was like, I had this like weird feeling. It was almost like a mourning, but of like my identity as a non-seeing person, who then all of a sudden is a person who has perfect vision. And it was like really kind of difficult for me to sort of wrap my head around what that was at the time. And you're like you're so aware because you're just the fucking best, but like to be so aware that you're like entering into this thing that's going to change you forever and change something that's like been a part of you forever. And you'll from here on out move through the world in a different way. And you are losing a part of you're losing a part of yourself.
Yeah.
And you're excited about it and we're excited for you. But I think it's so incredible, Shantira, that you've like taken the moment to really acknowledge what is about to happen so that you can like move forward and have not just zero regrets, but also like, I'm so happy I had my LASAC surgery. It worked out well.
I'm really, really happy. I'm really excited. But like, also it's like, I think that like the doctor was like, when you wake up, like your first breath will be different because I have so much weight on my chest. So it's like, what does it feel like to like drink water in this body? What does it feel like to eat in this body? What does it feel like to put a shirt on this body? Because all of that,
it might hurt for a minute.
Oh yeah, right. But like
those titties also might hurt.
Well, that's the thing. Like thinking about how like easily, like I'm going to make sure I appreciate it, but like how easily I kind of move about in this body. Like I could just put my sweatshirt on, or I could just go for a run, or I could just like get on a skateboard and kick push. But I know on Thursday, like obviously I won't be able to do that immediately, but I learned how to do all that stuff in the body that I have So it's going to be like, I don't think I'm going to have to relearn how to skateboard, but I will be like,
I don't know, your balance will be off.
Yeah. So who knows? I mean, it might be easier. These bitches is
You
heavy.
might not be as top. You're not going to be as top heavy.
True.
Yeah.
It's a really good point, though. When I had my older son, I had a C-section, and, like that's a normal thing. And obviously you'd expect it to hurt somewhat. But like what I didn't realize is how much everything in your body depends on that muscle. That they cut into. I was like, I cannot even blink my eyes without, like, it was such a shock to me. And so you saying like how aware you're trying to be of your entire body, that's not a place where I was at even when I was like having a child. And so I really just admire that you're that thoughtful.
Well, I think it'll make me appreciate what I'm gaining. Because I mean, like, full disclosure, like the doctor was talking about how like my ribs will be able to expand more. So I'll literally be able to breathe deeper. So I'm like going to be like, oh, I'm going to really know what it feels like, what the difference is when I wake up. And like, that's something I'm excited about. So that's where I'm at, you guys, really trying to ritualize this experience in this body that I'm in.
You're just the coolest. And I'm so excited for your journey, and I can't wait to see your boobs. And is that weird? Is that an inappropriate thing to say? No, I'm very excited.
Also really grateful for this podcast because I mean, like, I think that the pandemic has done a lot for a lot of people, but I think that I've always been like comfortable in my body, but like I was uncomfortable. I was like, God, my back kind of hurts. My chest is really big. But it was like during the pandemic, I'm at home. I wear sweatpants, no shoes, and a sweatshirt most of the day. And I was like, oh, this is the most comfortable and relaxed I could possibly be. And I'm still uncomfortable. So it was like somebody, shout out to Amy, who's a listener, sent me a message and was like, yo, this is where I went in LA. Like, truly, so many people from this podcast were like, this is the best decision I've ever made. Do you need Rex? And I don't think that I would have. I think it would have been the thing I thought about more than actually actively did if it weren't for like talking about it with you guys and then listen and having people message me about the experience. So like, shout out to the pandemic and shout out to the listeners. Shout out to Amy. What's up?
I mean, here's the thing. I saw that there was this person on Twitter that was saying like, what's a podcast where it's like you're just sitting around talking to friends, and several people tagged our podcast, and that's really nice. I don't listen to other podcasts, so I don't know, but
honestly,
you know that's true. You know that's true. But I do feel like it goes both ways. Do you know what I mean? It's not like when people have come up to me on the street here in New York, and there have been people that have and said, oh, well, you know the J. Crew story, obviously.
Yes.
But I'm always like, oh, I know you too. Like, I feel like I know them just as much. And so I really appreciate that. I just want like everybody listening to know that, like, we are three friends sitting around and talking, but we really appreciate your input to the conversation as well. Always. And in this case, it like changed Shantira's life.
I mean, it was like very helpful. Thank you. Like, I really needed to take the plunge. And it was also, I mean, it is a pandemic. I have the time available for this surgery
to recover. But how long is the recovery like in total?
The plastic surgeons were like very nip-tucky, but like not in like the creepy weird way that show was, but like it's two guys who do it together, so like the surgery doesn't take as long. But like he was like, hey man, after the surgery you could be at brunch in 3 days. And I was like, all right, I'm going to brunch. Calm down.
Also, sir, it's a global pandemic. We're not going to brunch.
You know that's his spiel. It's like, hey, you could be out in these streets in 3 days.
He just has not adjusted it for COVID at all. And we're like, well, that seems irresponsible.
So like
what?
I could go to brunch in 3 days, but I will be at home.
Well, I have some good news for you. There's some real cozy, cute sweats coming your way to recover in. So,
oh, yay. I'm on board.
Shantira, really excited about all of this and this journey, and I'm just so happy that we're all on it with you.
The arthritis in my spine is also exciting.
Oh, jeez Louise. I bet. I mean, honestly, though, it will make working out different. Wait, do you guys remember the presidential fitness test?
Yes.
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 Like the worst fucking day of the year for me. And there was
It
always
was
like
so
some fucking asshole kid. It was always like the one kid who was like, it's his best day of the year because,
Well,
Frankie can do 100
it was
fucking
always
push-ups
the
in
people
second
who were
grade or whatever.
Gymnasts. There was like one. It was always like one girl and one boy who did gymnastics because a part of it used to be pull-ups and push-ups, and I was like,
and climbing a rope.
A rope.
Which is
And I was
like,
like,
no
a
one
rope.
can do that.
I'm like, I'm 11. I
Ninja
can't.
warrior shit. And also in my school, they always took that opportunity to update your health file and to weigh you in
In
the gym
front
and
of everyone.
yell your weight across
Same.
the gym to the
Same.
nurse.
Same.
With the weight thing, I remember the gym teacher yelling across to the nurse. Now, like, listen, I was like in third grade and very solid. I'm not going to deny having been a very solid kid, but I just remember everybody being like, you weigh 130 pounds? Like I weigh 60. And I just remember going home and being so upset and crying and my dad being like, what's bugging you? And I was like, they weighed us in gym today and I weighed like 130 pounds. And he was like, yeah, you're 5'4". Like you're a full foot taller than everyone in the third grade. Like what? Yeah, of course you do. You'd be sick if you didn't. And then I was like,
Oh
okay.
yeah,
That makes sense.
You're the height of a average size adult woman, so that's right.
That's why he was like, you know how we have to buy you like grown up clothes for school? That's why, because that's how tall you are and that's what you weigh.
I really appreciate that response from your father.
I really love that. Also, kids are small. Like, just thinking about it, like, there's just like whole humans walking around that weigh 50 pounds. That's insane.
50?
Insane.
What does Cricket weigh? Like 40, maybe?
Yeah, they're just
Probably.
small.
She's so small.
She's so tiny. I mean, and Birdie, while being very tall, is a little bird bones herself. So she does not
Yeah,
weigh a whole lot.
So funny.
Those little hollow bones. So like when you see people, because like you can just like pick them up and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, you have like thoughts and opinions. You weigh 45 pounds and you are so healthy. I think that's hilarious.
It's so various. Like, meanwhile, when I started dating my husband, have I ever told this on the podcast before? When I started dating my husband, I ran out of laundry.
Oh my God.
And I dug in the back of my closet and took out a pair of pants that I wore like on a date with him when we were like, he was like 20 and I was like 19 or whatever. And he was like, oh, those are cute pants. I never saw those before. When did you get them? And I was like, when I was 8.
What? No. Oh, but were you one of those kids who were like, you grew to be 5'4" when you were 8 and then you stayed 5'4" forever?
But Casey, same. And I like still wear shorts that I've had since 7th grade. I have been the same size, literally the same size since like 7th grade, I think. But I have like gone up and down, fluctuated weight wise, but like essentially the same size. I would say essentially the same size.
height.
No shit. I grew an inch every year from 6th grade to my sophomore year in high school. When I was 18, I grew an inch. So like my license said 5'8", and we had to change it later because I grew an inch and I was 5'9".
Oh my gosh.
You never stopped growing. That's crazy.
I never
were you,
stopped
Was it
growing.
like clean living? What were you doing?
I was just living my life, man, every year.
Did you
But
drink
also-
caffeine as
No,
a teenager?
I still don't drink caffeine. I don't like
There you go.
coffee.
You
I
guys,
don't
I'm
drink caffeine.
convinced. I'm convinced. I
don't
stunted
drink
my
caffeine.
growth.
Yes.
I do not drink caffeine at all.
Did you drink alcohol in high school?
No, I didn't drink no alcohol. First of all, I didn't have enough friends to be giving me booze. Number 2, in order to drink alcohol, you got to go over to people's houses, and that's white people let you do that. My mama was not letting me go to strangers' houses. I was at my own house.
Okay.
Shantira, you just made me realize something. I was 5'4" at the start of 3rd grade, and I'm 5'6" now. But I need to look up the year Diet Coke was invented.
Oh, you started drinking it?
Yeah.
Are you supposed to be like 6'5"? Damn, who knows?
That's what I'm wondering.
I might have been taller because my dad's 6'4", But I did try to drink coffee when I was like my junior year in high school. My cafeteria started having like cappuccinos or whatever, and I like started buying them, trying to convince myself I like liked coffee. But I did that for a couple months. I did not like coffee, and maybe maybe I was supposed to be 6 foot. You guys,
I am now. Everything's becoming crystal clear to me. I obviously was supposed to grow more. I was supposed to be taller. And I got real into coffee, caffeine, Coca-Cola, sugar, weed, drugs, alcohol.
I
and
like
it
how you were like,
stunted
it
my
was
growth.
just I like you were like, oh, it was just caffeine. And then the list grew longer. You're like,
The list.
honestly? And then I was like, honestly, all of that might have stunted your growth.
I think it did. Processed foods. It was also, guys, during the 90s and the big like coffee house revolution. Is that
true.
what
Well,
we call it? What are we calling it? Anyway,
Well, also
house culture.
Also, your snacks, I feel like snacks in the 90s for high schoolers, like they've kind of reined it in. Shout out to Michelle Obama these days. But,
yes.
like, that's when there was like heavy like Twinkies, heavy Doritos 3D, Dunkaroos, Squeeze-Its at high school.
You guys, I had like Lunchables every day. Like everything I ate was like processed and
Yeah.
shot full of like hormones and disgusting. And then, well, anyway, the point is, I was supposed to be 6 feet tall.
Yeah. Me too. You guys were all
Same.
supposed to be a 3-on-3 fucking basketball team. We ruined our lives.
But instead, we're 3 witches with a podcast. Well, guys, I don't know how you've been sleeping recently. Some people have been tossing and turning up all night. But maybe it's not anything other than you just are sleeping on a bad mattress.
Mm-hmm.
And it is time to upgrade. Guys, because it's time to get some sleep. 2020 is almost over. Let's leave those sleepless nights behind us and upgrade to a Helix mattress. We all love them. You take a little quiz and it's just 2 minutes. And then it matches your little body type and the sleep preferences, side, back, toss and turn, stomach, whatever. And you get the perfect mattress. They have soft, medium, firm mattresses that are great for cooling you down if you sleep hot. Ladies, perimenopausal ladies, pregnant ladies, people who just are hot at night. And they have a Helix Plus mattress for plus size folks. And I will say, like, in terms of affordability, I have found that they have different tiers to the
Yes.
Helix mattresses, and they give you different options. Like these are the best mattresses that are right for you, and they have a couple different price points. So I really appreciated that. It's been awesome getting all the unboxing videos from you guys who've been also getting the mattress of your dreams. Keep tagging us. But guess what? You don't have to take our word for it. Helix was awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ and Wired magazine, which those magazines really make great lists.
Yes.
So go to helixsleep.com/best. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that are going to give you the best nights of sleep of your life. They have a 10-year warranty. You get to try it out for 100 nights, risk-free. They'll even come back and pick it up for you if you don't love it. But you will. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/best. That's helixsleep.com/best for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. What are you waiting for? What's that? Well, that's a can of Olipop being cracked open as we speak. Listen, I've been drinking these Olipop vintage colas and also the classic root beers. And I love Olipop because it's just such a better choice than a tradish soda because it's a healthy alternative. And it doesn't have the spoonfuls of sugar and artificial ingredients. They use functional ingredients, and they combine the benefits of prebiotics, which you know are like probiotics except pre, plant fiber, and botanicals to support your microbiome and benefit digestive health. And I'm always looking to benefit my digestive health.
Good gut health is what it's all about, baby.
That's right. That's right. That's okay. So my flavors are cola, root beer. Ladies, what are yours?
I like an orange squeeze.
Yep. Also delicious.
I love the root beer and the cherry vanilla because it's like a little dessert treat.
Coca-Cola has 39 grams of sugar. That's too much sugar. Olipop, the vintage cola, has just 2 grams of sugar, guys. 2 grams. All the products are non-GMO, vegan, paleo, and keto or keto, however you say it, friendly, with less than 8 grams net carbs per can. So if that is something that you are trying to do this time in your life, this season in your life, you're keeping it ketogenic, you can have an Olipop. I encourage you to. And they're so confident that you're going to love these Olipop sodas that they offer 100% money back guarantee for orders placed through their website. So they've worked out an exclusive deal for our listeners with our Busy Phillips is Doing Her Best podcast listeners. You receive 20% off plus free shipping on the best selling variety pack. It's a great way to actually try all of the flavors. Go to drinkolipop.com/best or use code BEST at checkout to claim the deal. That's drinkolipop.com/best. The discount's only valid for the variety pack, guys, but you want the variety pack. Maybe you just keep ordering the variety pack. I don't know. Olipop can also be found in over 3,000 stores across the country, including Whole Foods, Sprouts, Kroger, Wegmans, and Erewhon. You guys just drink some Olipop. Caissie, what are you doing your best at this week? And then I'm going to tell you what I think you're doing your best at.
Oh, okay. I tweeted about this a while back, and but it's still holding true. So I think I'll talk about it on the podcast. Is that, you know, I love like a little psychological trick that you can like do to yourself to like motivate yourself or to help yourself get through a rough time.
This is like your one for them, one for me.
Exactly. So like the 1, 2, 3 thing that I do, one thing I have to do, one thing I want to do, one thing for someone else helps me get through depression. But also one thing I really, really hate is making mistakes. Like I just hate making mistakes. Nothing makes me feel worse. It makes me feel sick. Everybody makes mistakes, but no matter how many times someone tells me that rationally, I just hate making mistakes or not doing the best at something. So anyway, lately I have been, do you know when Fred Armisen used to do that impression of Joy Behar, and he would go, "So what? Who cares?"
Of course. I do that sometimes, and it's like I don't even what I'm doing is Fred Armisen's impression of Joy Behar.
Yes. And I know it so well from our friend Nelson, who we worked with on Busy Tonight. Like I knew it from the show, but it wasn't like a part of my life. But Nelson would always say it to make me laugh when I'd be like, "Oh God, like I messed this thing up." And he'd always say, "So what? Who cares?" And then I just started like mentally doing it about everything that I was stressing about, like that was beyond my control to make it like the best or to make it perfect. And it really works to say, "So what? Who cares?" As Fred Armisen doing Joy Behar's voice.
Who what? So what? Who cares? So what? Who cares?
It's really helpful.
You have to shrug your shoulders.
Yeah, you shrug it, and then you have to like pick
Who
up
what?
the sleeves,
Who?
the shoulders.
So what? So what? Who cares? So what? Who cares?
But so
it's really good.
Shout out to Joy Behar. Shout out to Fred Armisen. And also, like, I tweeted about it, and some psychologist told me, "Oh, yeah, that's actually like a psychology technique. It's called something, like official." I can't remember what it was, but
well, somebody will tweet it at us. Don't worry.
I'm sure they will. But anyway, that's what I've been just doing to get through everything, saying, "So what? Who cares?"
I love that. That's a motto for fucking 2020, if I tell you. So what? But like, I also love like, because the way you say it, "So what? Who cares?" Because I would be like, "So what? Who fucking cares?" Like,
so what? Who cares?
It's very different.
I love it.
Vibe.
I love it. So what? Who cares? Okay. Well, here's what I'm doing my best at. I'm doing my best at
Do you have it written down?
no crying. I am doing my best at crying this week and feeling all my feelings.
That's good. I
letting
love that.
go of things, letting it all go. Not like the movie Frozen song from Frozen, but just moving through these feelings because it's a lot. It's a lot that's happening in my life. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot that's happening in the world. There's a lot that feels overwhelming all the time. And on top of it, I've been working a very large amount. That's not, that's barely a sentence, guys. But I've been working a lot. It's been super long hours. I've been really, really tired. When you're tired, I haven't been eating great, because, you know, I think we've gone over this, but like on-set COVID food is scarce. Like you can't, because you can't eat on set, right? But if you're on set and you're like, and they don't want you to go too far, it's just like, I just haven't been, so I'm just trying to pay attention, like asking for what I need. Today at work, guys, I got the dairy-free broccoli soup, the chicken quinoa soup, and chicken salad, and a potato chips bag delivered to me.
Yeah.
And then went to a place where I could safely take my mask off and eat it. So anyway, but also like I've been crying a lot, and that's okay. I feel okay about the crying a lot. And I'm trying to like organize stuff and take care of Christmas presents and make sure that everybody's got what they need. And I'm just trying to like, I don't know, just take it. I'm trying to focus on the micro, not the macro.
Oh, yeah. What you can actually control. The macro is the thing that really usually ends up making you very upset, but you can't. It's usually bigger than you.
There's also like the whole picture of like my life and where I'm going and what I'm doing. And like, I don't fucking know. And I know that does feel destabilizing, obviously. But I think we're all just in this sort of collective moment that most of us have that feeling, regardless of whether you just sold the house that you've lived in longer than you've ever lived in any other house, or if you're, you know, in the same place, but you're like having to quarantine again. And I mean, there's a lot to like be hopeful for. The vaccines showing up for essential workers. Like a lot of people on my Instagram posts of late have been like, wait, what's happening? I've missed it. Where are you? Did you leave LA forever? Are you gone? Like da-da-da-da-da. And it was really freaking me out. And I have been really upset to say like, yes, I think I am, you know, whatever. And then I was like, well, I don't know. Who knows?
Right.
Like, first of all, who fucking knows? And like, secondly, selling my house was a really emotional and difficult thing for me because my star sign is Cancer. I am very attached to my little shells that I move into. I need them to feel cozy and wonderful and perfect. This morning, I woke up early for my call time and I was like, oh, this is good because now I'm having somebody drive me because I feel like I was just too fucking tired, like driving those long hours and distances. And now it's like there's going to be snow soon and ice. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking do that shit. You know what I mean? It's one thing to like listen to Tame Impala on like a New York City street when it's like 60 degrees out. But it's another thing when you're like trying to deal with like icy conditions. And
and you've also lived in LA for the last 20 years. Like I didn't grow up driving in snow. Yeah. But like it's different. Like if you spend your whole life driving in rain, like I can drive in a hurricane. Right. I can't drive in a snowstorm.
I can drive in rain too. I'm really good at driving in like crazy torrential downpours.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing I'm going to say, maybe controversial. I don't care. I've spent the last few months driving in New York now. Mm-hmm. I think people in LA are kind of better drivers.
Well,
People
busy
in LA
also-
are bad drivers.
People in LA are horrible drivers.
Yeah.
but
and I'm
right.
like, I'm saying people in New York are terrible fucking drivers. It's like everyone is looking for a sign that is very small that they need to read at all times. That's what it feels like.
They are. But busy, I do want to point out something. You're driving right now in
I know.
1982 New York.
No, I know. 400,000
You know what I mean?
over
Like-
400,000 people have left this city, and I know that it's like business is not back up and running, and like blah blah blah. Blah. I get it. I know.
One thing I will say, when I moved to LA, one thing I really missed is that you're getting driven by a person, but most people who work and live in New York City, they take the subway, they take the commuter train in from the suburbs. And I really missed the time to work, to do other things, or to read, or to listen, to listen to whatever I want, watch a movie.
Oh, right.
So that is something that like I hope that you enjoy and take advantage of, because that's something nobody can do in LA.
I never
hope.
read more than when I lived in New York, because in Chicago the train was on time. So in New York, when we were stuck underground, I never finished more books than the 2 years that I lived in New York.
Can I just say though, like first of all, I don't know. It's hard for me to kind of do anything in the car because I kind of get car sick.
I can read on a roller coaster, baby.
I'm very envious of that. But anyway,
You just
also
you have to plan out what you can do in the car. So like if you can like make phone calls or whatever.
oh, I love
return
rolling
phone
a call. But
calls.
then
Yeah,
Pat has to listen.
Oh.
Tonight, Pat really heard me swearing at my mom. And I think it's, and I feel like people, you guys, first of all, I'm going to tell you why, and you're going to fucking back me up.
No, I'm not. I don't swear in front of my mom.
I know, Shantira, I get it. But my mom and I have a different kind of relationship.
This is true.
She's like, Busy, don't be such a fucking bitch. Like that's like, you guys, you know this. I wrote about it in my book. Anyway.
No, I know.
I
but
come
it's
from like a very sweary, name-calling family.
Yeah.
Listen, we try to break patterns. I try to do my best in my own family now. Sometimes I do a great job. Sometimes I'm not great. My children, I will say Birdie's one of her first words was fuck. But
But that's funny.
I know it was really funny, especially because she used it correctly. We were at the park at Bronson Canyon Park, and she slid off the bottom of the slide and like bonked her butt down onto the, rubber, whatever floor. What is it called? Oh my God,
Yeah.
you guys, what's wrong with me? I literally can't talk. Yes, playground. And she like slowly got up, like she was like, Birdie, like the weight of the world is always, at 2 years old. And she was like, oh, fuck. And this little lady next to me was like, oh, wow. And I was like, well,
She
okay.
understands.
Oh my
But anyway,
gosh.
so I was at work today, and my sister kept calling me, and I was like, fuck. My sister knows I'm at work. Leanne, we all worked with Leanne on Busy tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know her well. So I was like, Leanne knows I'm working. Like, why does she keep calling me? There must be something happening,
Yeah.
So as soon as I had a chance, I was actually stepping outside to like see if I could call her back, and the phone rang, and it was her again. And I pick it up, and I hear this voice go, hello, Aunt Busy. And I'm like, oh my God. It was Bob. It was little Bob. It was
Baby Bob?
It was Baby Bob. Baby Bob, who does not want to be called Baby Bob anymore, but he's always going to be Baby Bob. Even when he's 45 years old,
Here's
he's
the
going to be
thing.
Baby Bob.
Here's the thing. He's a baby. His name is Bob. And he's Baby Bob. Because no matter how old he gets, I will still be this much older than him.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
he is Baby Bob. When I'm 80 and he's 50, he's Baby Bob.
He's Baby Bob. And Baby Bob, listeners at home, is my nephew. He is 5 years old, newly 5. But he's like a very special person. He's just a like little like sparkle. So anyway, I'm like, hear this tiny voice. I'm like, hello? I don't know. I thought there was a version where my sister was calling me, but no. I was like, Bob, what's going on, buddy? Where are you? And he's like, oh, I'm just walking around the house. I got my mom's phone. She's doing some work. I'm like, okay, all
Who
right.
else is he calling? calling. I'm happy he was calling you.
I mean, me too. And then he goes, so I'm busy. You know how to do the FaceTiming? I'm like, yeah, I know how to do the FaceTiming. And he's like, okay, I'm going to hit that button now. So you're going to have to pick up. I'm like, okay. So he FaceTimes me. It was so cute. It's just like his forehead and like just so much hair. And that's all I could see. And then I heard and he's like, my mama, I think, is in the bathroom now. I was like, don't go in there. It's fine. Leave your mom alone. And then I hear Leanne. She's like, what's happening? Oh, Bob, give me the phone. She gets the phone, whatever. So, anyway, so Leanne was telling me she did not know that he had the phone this whole time, but and that he had been calling me a lot. Oh, and then he made me cry because he was like, oh, God, I mean, kids, right? He's like, you know what I was thinking about? Am busy? I was like, no, Bob, what were you thinking about? He's like, I was thinking about, remember I come to your house in LA a lot? And I was like, oh my God. And then I, of course, started crying. Yeah. And then I had to go use it in my scene. I had to just take that emotion and just use it in the comedy scene with Sarah Bareilles and Renee Elise Goldsberry. Anyway, you guys, I know this is controversial. I know you guys don't want to hear this about me at home. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't want to hear that I'm a girl who in sixth grade called my mom a fucking bitch. But you know what?
Okay, here's the thing. I think that is, I don't know where we talked about this, but like that is also like a white thing.
It is.
Yeah.
PLC do not swear. My mom could straight up come up here and shoot me right now. And I'd be like, dang, why'd you shoot me? I wouldn't swear at my mom. I just don't.
Okay. My friend Carrie Champion, who, has been on this podcast.
She said that.
Yeah.
This was great. Yeah.
She really, when she and I were paired together, for the
Share the
mic now, something. Anyway. But when we were paired together and then became BFFs, and I love her so much, and she's so just wonderful, and I love her.
She's very cool.
Oh God, she's so cool. She's just so cool.
She is.
And she's so beautiful.
Yeah,
anyway,
she's just like cool.
I just love her. Not that being beautiful, she's like beautiful because she like radiates like.
No, but she is like hot and cool. She's like a hot, cool person.
Objectively beautiful.
Well, anyway, when we were trying to like pull apart some of the differences between like the way that white women in this country are raised and the way that black women in this country are raised, that was the thing that she was like really clued into with me. Like that was the thing that we like were like, I was like, every white girls have no respect for their mothers. Like it's like a very patriarchal and disrespectful a lot of times culture around like mothers and daughters. And even just in the way that white women talk about moms and daughters, like even on my Instagram, like even like progressive women, when they see pictures of my kids, or especially Birdie, who's older, I'll get these comments that are like, good luck to you. She's going to turn on you, like that kind of stuff, or like in the grocery store or wherever, like people will say weird stuff like pitting me against this child already, where it's like, why is that predetermined? That,
well, maybe it's because white women have no respect for any women,
for themselves. Maybe.
For themselves.
Oh, y'all said it.
Well, so like where black women and, young black women see their moms and see what their moms have had to go through.
Well, black culture is very matriarchal.
That's correct.
And I think white culture is the world is patriarchy, but black communities are very patriarchal. And I also think about like, soon as a black woman hits 65, everybody wants to respect them. I don't know what it is. Don't nobody want to listen to me now. But if my grandma walked into a boardroom at Pfizer right now, they'd be like, we should listen to Miss Louise. I don't know what it is.
I would listen to Miss Louise tell me anything.
Truly. Everybody
I would never,
loves,
and also, by the way, I would never swear around Miss Louise.
Exactly.
See?
It's like, but black communities, and I think that the world is so interesting because like black grandmothers are like synonymous with, but that's also like a trope that goes back to like mammies. Like black women have been raising white children forever. So many white people have respect because they're nannies and they're maids and the people who quote unquote really help raise them and spend the most of their time with, they love like old women POC. But like, yeah, I can't swear in front of my mama, but yeah, I think that's a thing. I think that white communities are very patriarchal. You respect old white men, and then black communities are very matriarchal. We're always like, don't listen to your granddaddy, he a fool. Go listen to your grandma.
I'm always shocked when I like see it in practice with like, because I feel like I've done a lot of work to try to mitigate some of the stuff that was like ingrained in me and that I, have
It's also in movies though.
Oh, I mean,
like,
it's everywhere. It's
in,
everywhere.
I mean, like Lady Bird, white people love fucking Lady Bird. Lady Bird is literally just like a bunch of white girls being like, yeah, that was me and my mom. And I was like, the fuck it is.
Right.
But that is the way that so even if we learn how to act in families from television, right? Even if you're trying to figure out how to treat your mom, if you watch everybody loves Roseanne, like if you watch any of those shows, we're taught that like that is how you treat your mom. But like I grew up watching the Cosby Show, R.I.P. Bill, but that is how you treat a black mom is the way that Felicia Rashad was done.
Also,
that's how you
definitely
treat your
how
mom.
you treat Felicia Rashad.
Felicia Rashad, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, listen, it's interesting because I was like, I don't know, maybe like a year ago, I was working with this guy who'd written a script, and I was reticent because it was a man who'd written a script with a female lead. But anyway, I met with him. My friend was a producer. He's like, he really wants you for this part. I met with him and I read the script and I really liked it. And then I had some notes or whatever. And I was talking to him about it. And I'm like, this is hard for me to work with a man. Like I'm not in a space in my life
absolutely.
where I want to, but he was really receptive and cool and whatever. And there was one thing that I was like, this is really like a sticking point for me. I really related to so much of the character and this girl that he had written based on whatever, his own family experience. And like this rage that she had. But at the like sort of like the end and third act and everything's fine, but whatever. It's her dad that shows up and like has this moment with her, whatever. And I was like, it's just fucking bullshit. Like it's always written that way. It's always the dad in all these fucking movies that shows up and like has the like, you're gonna be okay, kiddo, like fucking knock on the chin, like validation to the girl. I was like, it needs to be her mom. Make it her fucking mom. And he was like, I never thought about that. And I was like, yeah, of course you didn't. But like, it's literally never the fucking mom in a movie that gets to like have that talk with the protagonist of a film at the end where she, and that's the thing. If you see a thing long enough, by the way, most of us don't get that talk from our dads either. So then we're just like really fucking mad.
Right.
If you go to talk to your dad, he'll be like, you should go talk to your mom. And then you just don't talk to anybody.
Right. Yeah, it's complicated. I think there's a lot of complicated shit going on with white women. We talk about toxic masculinity tons, but I also think that there's like toxic femininity. That's not the right word because it's not the femininity.
No, it's not the inherent. Yes.
But there's something going on with white women that we need to unpack.
Well, it's like privilege, right? An upholding of a thing that gives them some amount of power. And it's the fact that because of toxic masculinity, white women have been subjugated in a way. And so then the only way that they feel this is like power is by, demeaning
and that's all
others.
Rooted in white supremacy.
And that's all rooted in fucking white supremacy. And we got to burn it to the ground. We have to burn that to the ground. But like also I'm very interested in the idea of like non-gender conforming and like non-binary now. And like how the case, we've talked about this a little bit, but like just the idea, it was in its onset. But I would say like, I don't know, maybe a decade ago or a little bit less than a decade ago.
I mean, I'd say 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess I had my first friend who was gender nonconforming. Right, gender nonconform. Right, there were different words. Yes,
Yeah.
the actual words. You're correct.
Yeah.
Because I had friends who were trans back earlier than that, but this is like, but gender nonconforming is a different thing. Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
And a lot of times I felt like when I first heard about gender nonconforming, people were talking about the way they dressed as opposed to how they identified.
Correct.
So they'd be like, oh, like they like to dress like gender nonconforming. And I'd be like, that girl is wearing a suit.
Yeah, that's
style choice, I guess. But like
Right.
a lot of times we associate it with the way that they presented their clothing as opposed to how they identify. And I think for me in the last, like, I want to say right around the time I left Chicago, maybe 2016, 2017, I started meeting more people who identified as non-binary. And also like, that didn't just mean they like dressed androgynous, quote unquote. So like, yeah, I think for me, like, and I think I'm in a pretty progressive group of hipster fucking comedians, but I think, yeah, it's new to me and I live in a major city.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it is fairly new, but I think now I've sort of come to really think about how when we talk about like smashing white supremacy and the patriarchy, one of the things that we really should be discussing is smashing gender because
the binary for sure.
the binary is just like, that's it, man. And it never fucking occurred to me in the weirdest way. Maybe it's just because I'm old. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
I mean, like, I try to keep my mouth shut about certain things because like I'm always learning. So like white supremacy, black women, queerness, I'll talk about it. But like I'll never forget I like saw this thing on Twitter, the hellscape that it is, and it was like a orange, just like a orange that had been peeled and put in Whole Foods. And you know how they like where you put produce, it's like the green styrofoam with plastic over it. And it was like peeled oranges. And somebody took a picture of it in Whole Foods and was like, come on, Whole Foods. Like, everyone's not that lazy. And I was like,
I really remember this.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then someone was like, I like don't have my left hand.
Right.
And I was like,
Right.
fuck. I was like, oh, god damn, drag a bitch. And it was one of those things where like, obviously, like, I am not disabled. But I would have never thought of that. But it's one of those things when I saw it, I was like, I am not the smartest person, right? I'm pretty smart. But one of the things about being smart is to know when you're not the smartest person. So,
damn, that's it. Wait, that's your Oprah moment. I say that all the time. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
It's like one of the things about being a smart person is knowing that you're not the smartest person.
Guys,
so like,
one of the things about being a smart person is knowing that you're not the smartest person.
yeah. So like I saw that and in my head I was like, there is somebody at Whole Foods whose whole job is to know why you should have an orange that is peeled and put it in the store. And I am not that bitch. So then when that girl was like, I don't have my left hand, I was like, and that is why I shut the fuck up and I wait till I learn more.
You said such a smart thing, Shantira, about being smart by knowing that you're not the smartest person. Also, another thing is everybody fucks up. Everybody fucks up.
Yeah.
Like we were just saying, you see that peeled orange and you're like, oh, come on. But when you fuck up like that and someone points it out to you that like you had a spot where you weren't seeing the whole picture, just not doubling down is a huge, and just being like, oh, I got it. Thank you for pointing that out to me. That's it. Because doubling down is like the worst characteristic
Doubling
of
down
America.
is just so fucking annoying. And it's only something that you should do if you've been married for a really long time and you are exhausted and you just want to fucking win and you're just going to double down on just a bunch of fucking bullshit that you don't even believe. You're just like, fuck you. I know I'm right. Fuck you. Again, guys, I'm sorry that I swear so much. I'm sorry.
No, I love swearing.
Has anyone ever doubled down with you and like really strongly and then later just straight up admitted that they were just doing it and they don't even know why they were doing it? Because that
I have done that. Dude, I have done that. But Mark doubles down. I'm talking quietly. He just brought me another margarita, so he was being nice. But like Mark doubles down a lot and he's not right. You know, like and my favorite thing, because Mark is probably like the smartest, you know, he's like he's, you know, one of those fucking people. I always liked to say, this was what I always said, Shantira. I always said sort of like the inverse kind of. I always would say, I'm just smart enough to know that I'm not quite smart enough to get it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I also am just smart enough to know that I should surround myself with people that are much smarter.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when I'm right, but I don't. And sometimes I know when something is wrong, but I don't know why. And that's when I keep my mouth shut.
I swear to God, I only learned that the hard way because I was like absentmindedly scrolling like 2 years ago or something. And I like liked some Justin Bieber tweet that then he was like dragging Taylor Swift. I don't even know what the fuck what it was. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I just thought he was cute. Like he was just like a cute kid with cute Taylor Swift as kids. I didn't read the fucking, you know, monologue that he wrote because who's got time for that shit?
Nobody.
And then I was like, oh no, but it was some controversial thing. And then I just went and unhearted it once people were coming after me.
Well, a perfect example of like not.
Here we go.
All the. Do you remember the Jussie Smollett thing? When everybody like instantly had an opinion on it, and like, you know, and right away I just felt like whatever happened to him and whatever is happening to him, I feel bad for him as a person for whatever's happening. But nobody ever knew the whole story. Nobody still knows the whole story. But so many people came out at every step of that story saying like, I know what happened here. And I was just like, I'm gonna observe.
I'm not saying shit. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
It's tricky. But speaking of which, let's get into some pop culture. Here's why I love Caissie so much. I'm going to read this thing in its entirety, and then we're going to go through it. Okay. This is the kind of shit that Caissie sends to us before we do the podcast. This was a text. Gmail is down. So possible topics. Gmail's been fucked up. I hate when something I don't pay for stops working. Okay.
It's true.
Harry and Meghan signed a podcast deal. Lizzo had to defend herself after going on a 10-day juice cleanse. Fuck the haters, ? Lizzo also posts about eating Cheetos and gets shit. So what is a girl supposed to do, really? Not post, ? And then in parentheticals, also, E, the channel, had the nerve to use a still from Busy Tonight with Lizzo drinking that giant juice box we gave her on Twitter today. The nerve! Which, by the way, yeah, fuck them. Fuck them. Like, also implying that the juice box, like, was somehow part of the juice cleanse when it was straight tequila.
Y'all were fucking blasted that day.
Okay, Meghan McCain had her baby in September and named her Liberty? How did we miss that? I guess we were worried about other things. I totally missed that. That's wild. That being said, Meghan McCain needs to step the fuck down about her views on abortion. Happy for you and your baby, Meghan. I'm glad you had the choice. All right. Oh no, because also she was like propagating like weird shit about third trimester abortions. That's just like the bullshit that the Republicans are like grasping at now. When in actuality, Pete Buttigieg, our new Secretary of Transportation.
Well, he was.
Did you guys see that?
Is he gonna be?
Yes.
It's official.
He's been nominated.
He's been
He
nominated.
still has to be confirmed.
He has to be
Come
confirmed.
on. He's going to be confirmed. Everybody loves Buttigieg. He's the most Republican Democrat we have. And he's gay.
I love his husband.
I love them all.
What's his name?
Chaston? Chaz. I call him Chaz.
Yeah.
Chaz Buttigieg.
I love him. He seems very friendly and adorable.
Chaston. They're very good friends with Mandy Moore.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, that's what I know.
She's also a delight. Mandy doesn't like people who aren't delightful.
No. She's chill and she's a delight.
Yeah.
And the budges seem delightful as well. Anyway, I think he's going to be a great Secretary of Transportation. I didn't even know there was a Secretary of
Speaks all
Transportation.
them languages.
Did you see Amy Klobuchar's like congratulations? And it was so shady because she was like, I'm sure you'll bring your local government experience. And people
Yeah.
were like,
Fuck!
Amy
Klobuchar.
shady.
I can't. I mean, that is a real Debbie Downer if I've ever heard one. Klobuchar. Okay, Meghan McCain had her baby. Okay, we got that. Oh no! Oh no! The viral Fleetwood Mac skateboarder tested positive for COVID because he's been doing a lot of traveling since he gained fame from going viral. Dang it! He thinks he got it in LA where he was working on several projects for a month after getting engaged in Vegas. He flew from his home in Idaho to LA, and it was his first time on a plane. What the fuck?
First of all, there's too much happening. Number one, LA is very bad, but the audacity to go be like, I got it in LA after I left Vegas. Fuck that's calm down. There's
That's some
options
bullshit.
here.
It's some
That's
bullshit.
that is some. You got some fucking options here. Okay. Also, after you rode on the plane, LA is bad, but you got that's 3 right there. That could be. So it's just a lot of could be.
Also, it's just like a telescoping thing because like he went viral for doing that video with the cranberry juice to dreams because people were feeling very cooped up and that video felt so freedom and like made everybody feel like freedom for a second. And so that's why he got famous, is because we're all trapped in our houses trying not to die. And then he just got on a plane and got sick.
Well, I hope he's okay.
Me too.
Too.
Kirk Cameron hosted a big public Christmas caroling event
Oh my
in Thousand
gosh.
Oaks, despite California regulations against that kind of thing right now. He was great in that Rapture movie. Now maybe he'll get to experience something similar in real life. Casey,
What? I just
here's what I want to say.
Whisper it to me, busy.
You know who's been popping up so much on my Explore page is Candace Cameron. Like all the time on my Explore page.
Well,
on
it's because
Insta.
it's Hallmark season. She's the Hallmark bitch.
Well, also, there's a weird thing that I feel about her, that she is the like super religious version of me.
I was just gonna say, I was just got a vision of you trying to dethrone her.
I
as the
know.
Hallmark bitch.
I know.
Like if there ever gets to be a slightly spicier channel than Hallmark, like you could definitely star.
Here's
in
what
all
I'm
the
going to say.
Christmas
But you know what I'm going to
movies.
say, Casey?
What?
Enough with like white girls getting their Christmas fucking dreams coming true. I don't care. You know what I mean?
It's
give a
all the
fuck.
same.
I don't
but
give a fuck.
I'm not gonna
I don't
lie.
give a fuck.
I did download the Hallmark app for $5.99 so I could watch the movies over Christmas, because I enjoy them, because there's a bunch of there's like a bunch of black ones, and
well, that's cool.
I think but they all star Vivica Fox, and I think that's fun.
I like Vivica.
And I love them because if you can think of a word and put Christmas before it, there's a movie. It's
Yeah.
like the Christmas sled, the Christmas table, the Christmas computer, the Christmas refrigerator, the Christmas car. And it's like everything is like a husband for Christmas, a uncle for Christmas, a dad for Christmas, a mom for
A
Christmas.
baby
And it's
for
just like,
Christmas.
there's one of those too, a baby for Christmas
Listen,
too.
my friend Autumn Reeser from the Thrilling Adventure Hour has done a lot of those Hallmark movies too.
Yeah.
And
Oh, for
I think
sure.
she's adorable, and I would like to watch her do anything.
She's great.
But
Our friend Nelson and I tried to write one of those Christmas movies. We started one called It's Christmas Carol.
That
I
is
would star
aggressive.
in that one. I would star in that one. But listen,
It was about a Hallmark movie Christmas actress
Me.
who became disillusioned.
That's it.
With the holiday of Christmas.
that's it. We're doing it.
Oh,
We've
that's
already
good.
shot it. Guys, it's done. Except it's done. We already shot it. And I swear to God, if you're out there and you fucking steal that idea, I will never forgive you, Candace Cameron. Cut to her pitching it. Listen, not the first time another blonde has stolen my shit. All right. Cardi B gave Offset a $600,000 Lambo for his 29th birthday. You know what I got for my 29th birthday? A baby named Birdie. She was great. Definitely worth $600,000.
I think it's a lot of. I think she has a lot of money, and obviously, like, I don't want to buy a car that costs that much money. But also, like, fucking Seinfeld has 40 fucking cars that are.
Jay Leno has like legit $47
100
million worth of cars. Like, white men have been buying stupid, useless, expensive shit since the beginning of time. I don't love the like celebrity culture of scrutinizing spending of and it's always like specifically black celebrities.
Yeah.
When fucking Jay Leno's stupid ass fucking dumb fucking Ford from 1912 or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like tooting around Burbank. It's like that's like $7 million. Like,
yeah,
you know, where's the outrage for that?
Like if Soof John Stevens was like, I bought a $600,000 car, I'd be like,
who is Soup John Stevens?
Is it? I said Soof John. Isn't it how you say it?
I swear to God, Shantira, I thought you just said Soup John Stevens.
No,
and I was like,
Soof John.
who the
Isn't that
fuck is Soup John Stevens?
No,
Sufyan.
Sufyan. Listen,
Sufyan.
I don't know if he
Sufyan.
fucking if Soup John bought a fucking $600,000 car.
But
we would
heretofore,
be
I do think we should
freaking
call
out.
him Soup John. Wait, what did Birdie? No, it was it Cricket or one of them? Cricket. She came home and she was like, "Yeah, so we're learning that new Jake Spears play is really weird, and I don't know what it's about." I was like, "Who?" She's like, "It's a play by Jake Spears." I'm like, "Jake Spears?" And she's like, "Yeah, Jake Spears. Ever heard of him?"
Well, not to make it about me, but Busy, you were gonna say, tell me something that I was good at.
Well,
Yeah.
the first was this list that you sent us because I just loved it. Wait, Shantira can't stop laughing.
Not to make this about me, but you were going to tell me about what I'm good at.
I already was doing it. It was the list. I love the list that you sent out.
Okay.
But the other thing was, maybe you saw my Instagram, but Caissie figured out how to send me the nachos from Petty Cash in LA, and it was like the nicest, most thoughtful gift of all time, and I loved it so much. So you've done so well this week at like doing lots of different jobs, some which you like, some which you don't like, but then additionally being a really good friend who's like thoughtful, and like it was just such a nice thing, and it arrived on the day when the whatever sale was recorded in LA County or whatever the fuck they do. I don't even know. And the house is no longer ours. And I cried so hard eating the nachos. And I really did. It was just really nice and the nicest Christmas present. Anyway, so you're a really good friend who's really thoughtful, and you make really funny pop culture lists of things that we could topics we could go over with your own added snark.
Well, here's what I want to say is that, like, I don't even know if petty cash, like, if that's not a thing that they do.
No,
They
it
don't
was
do
fully
that.
not. They should though.
But-
Also, they should.
They absolutely, they 100% should.
Because I think I've already sold them out across the country.
But what I was going to say is that I just was like, let me just take a shot at, like, you know, like I was thinking, like, can I get them and send them myself? That's probably not a great idea because I'm not an expert in like food handling, whatever. So I just sent an email like to the manager at Petty Cash saying like, here's a thing that I want to do. Is that something that you could ever do? And like, they really, the Kenny and Chef Walter at Petty Cash really jumped through like 1,000 hoops to send you 2 trays of nachos. And it was because they love you. You know, you've been such a big supporter of their restaurant. And I kept saying like, this seems like a lot of work. This seems like, and they, you know, they were saying like, no, this is something that we really want to do. We really want to help you do this for Busy because she's been such an amazing supporter of our restaurant and all restaurants. So it was because of, you know, Like I couldn't have done it myself, but because of who you are, people were all too happy to help me do it.
That's really nice.
I love that he's Chef Walter. I love when it's a chef and it's just like a name. Just like Chef Mike.
Walter.
I love Chef Walter.
They are the best.
Yeah, they're just really, really nice people. So if you're in LA and you've never been to Petty Cash, or if you're coming to LA because you got famous from a viral video before you get COVID, go and get like curbside pickup from Petty Cash because they are stellar people and the food's great.
But the food is great. And when we were doing, here's a thing for you. We were doing Busy Tonight. Petty Cash really became like
It was a hot spot.
It was like my go-to comfort, like post show comfort.
Yeah.
I used to like to go there and we would have nachos and margaritas and here's the thing that people are always like, what the fuck are you talking about? So they invented a thing at Petty Cash, these like roasted cauliflower and kale nachos. And people will say to you, get the fuck out of here when you
They're
tell
really
them.
good. And I'm
But
a meat
when
bitch.
they are first of all, it's not health food. Let's not get crazy.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
These are nachos that would make anyone proud. It's like legit anyone who I've turned on to these nachos. I mean, Ashley Nicole Black and
Yeah.
Chelsea, was that for your birthday?
That was for my birthday, yeah.
Neither one of them had them yet?
I don't think so.
No, they hadn't. And I
Yeah.
sort of forced it on everyone.
They're really
And-
good.
Thank you. Mark just brought me peppermint ice cream because I'm crying and I texted him, peppermint ice cream question mark.
Aww.
He didn't know I was crying. He just did it anyway.
Aw.
I love
This
it.
is the best time of year though for peppermint ice cream.
It truly is.
Guys, I don't know if I have enough good. I mean, they're fine. These kids get everything they fucking want. But like, I don't know if I have like good Christmas presents for these kids. Like, I don't think I got them just
What
like
do they
a bunch of-
want?
Also hilariously last night, he was being so sweet to me after work. And I was just like, oh God, I just fucking love this kid. Anyway, I got Birdie the best presents. I really did. And so I kind of had this thing last night where I like realized like I have gotten Birdie these like really great presents. I don't want to say what they are in case she
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to
Thank-
spoil it.
I don't want to spoil it. Anyway, but last night I was like kind of feeling guilty because I'm like, all I've gotten for Cricket is like some like stuffed animals and shit. Like, what am I getting this kid? And so I was putting her to bed. I was so tired after work, and I was like, baby, listen, I really want to get you something like really special and sweet just from Mama. Is there anything that you like really want? I've asked her to make Christmas lists. She's just like not interested, whatever. And she's like, oh, Mama. I like can't make this shit up. She looks at me and she's like, oh, Mama, you know me. Anything that you get me, I will love. And then I was just like,
No. But then you also are like, yeah, but could you make me a list, Cricket, please? God, please.
yeah. But like,
But like, what
specifically?
specifically do you want?
Oh my gosh.
Fucking no. I don't know what to get her. What do you get a
I don't
7-year-old
know.
who's like a unicorn?
Get her a Nintendo Switch. I don't know what to do.
It's always it's such a crapshoot because you're always trying to think of like what would be the perfect thing, and it's always like the goofiest thing that you get somebody that winds up being their favorite thing. One year I got my son because he said I don't know why he just put that he wanted a pizza on his Christmas list,
But he
So
wanted one to himself.
Yeah, he wanted
That's
his
important.
own pizza.
It's
And so
important.
I just got him his own pizza. One year, Lincoln asked for pickles, and he got a giant jar of pickles from Costco.
Well,
Dream
now
come
you're
true.
speaking Shantira's
My language. He is my son.
So like when my grandma used to send presents to me and my sister, you'll have to open them at the exact same time. So it's not to spoil the surprise.
Oh my god!
Do you remember that? Like, did you guys ever have that experience where you're like, my parent, like, you have to open it at the exact same time. I was like, I know,
Oh
we
my
know it's
God.
pajamas. Like, we know it's pajamas. It's fine. Like, we know we're about to. Leanne and I
Oh
were
my
both
gosh.
opening up pajamas. It's going to be fine.
When I was an only child, so I never had that experience of opening it.
Oh my God,
the
you both
exact
are
same
only
time.
children.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You guys, this is my fucking pattern in life. You know, I only surround myself with only children.
But I had a bunch of cousins, so I never opened presents by myself. I never like walked out. There was always a million cousins at our house constantly.
Yeah,
You know-
I had some cousins, not a million, but in my house it was always tradition to like allow me to open one gift on Christmas Eve.
Sure,
because,
same,
like,
same.
I wanted that so bad.
to quell the excitement. But one year, my mom, like, I don't know, she just decided like it'd be funny to be like, no, you can't this year because you're like getting older. You're not a baby. You don't need to open a gift. And I was like, lost my mind. I was like, you have to let me open your present. And she was like, no, just wait till tomorrow. And then I was like, let me just open that one from Aunt Margaret. And she was like, I mean, no. And I was like, I probably already know what it is. And she was like, what do you think it is? And I was like, it's probably like a necklace. And my mom was like, yeah, but what kind of necklace? And I was like, it's probably like an owl necklace. And then my mom was like, it is. Go ahead.
Wait, what? Well, you just witched it up.
Just if you knew my Aunt Margaret, it was an easily solvable mystery.
I used to try to avoid. Because you shake them, and if they don't make any noise, it's closed.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, my fucking aunts and they were hip to the game, so I would like pick it up and I shake it and I put it down, and they'd be like, "You got to open that," because when I would open clothes, they would. Was this your case? They would make me try them on.
Yes.
So it was just like really interrupting me trying to get like a fucking Craig David CD if I got to go upstairs and put on the pants you bought me. So I'd be like shaking it.
Why would they do that? Why did people
so
do that?
Annoying. Was that only me? Did you guys, when you open clothes, you had to try it on?
Always have to try it
It
on.
was just like, I was like, I know that there are 2 CDs in here that I asked for, and the sooner I get them, the sooner I can put them in my 3-disc CD changer from last year. Please let me find my Craig David CD.
And then when the thing doesn't fit, and then you're like, it doesn't fit. And then they're like, no, come show it to me.
Yeah, they're
And
like,
then you have to come out and they're like, no, it doesn't fit.
Yes. You'd be like, it doesn't fit. You just tried to say that. You probably didn't even try it on. Did we all have the same goddamn parents?
Wait, I feel like that did happen to me and I've blocked it out.
Yeah.
Like, because now you're saying it and it feels very reminiscent.
It happens to everyone. It's in like the Christmas Story movie.
Oh. What is
it's
that
so annoying.
Wait, what's your Christmas movie, Shantira?
I really liked A Christmas Story because it came on 24 hours.
Wait, is that okay?
yeah.
But like, I think it's sort of generational. Like, everybody has different ones that like they watch all the time. You know what I mean?
it was
Or
that
like,
one.
like
Because
Elf, like for like kids, and like for
Yeah.
Casey's kids, probably Elf, right?
Lincoln and I share the same favorite Christmas movie, which is It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie. But am I wrong? It's
But we like it
long,
for-
right? It's long.
It's long. We like it for different reasons. I don't know why Lincoln likes it, but I like it because Jimmy Stewart is so hot.
So fucking hot.
I only,
Young
you know, I
Paul named
only
him
have,
hot.
Yeah, I only have crushes on dead guys.
You know who else
Um,
I fucking get real hard for? That's not an expression. That's not the way you
No,
say
that's
it.
that's
not
The
right. That's not
expression
right.
is you get wide for someone.
Ew,
What?
that's
No,
disgusting. I don't get why.
Heard
You know, I have
I've
a
never
really,
heard that before.
but I have a really narrow set vagina. You know that. I have a really short. I have a tiny vagina. It's I know it's incongruous to how big my mouth is. I get it. I'm a loud person, tiny vagina.
Who does
Anyway,
your tiny vagina get excited about?
old Al Pacino, like real,
Oh.
like not old. Wait.
Back in the day,
60s, like
young
early
Al
70s,
Pacino.
young.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
Pacino?
1971 Al Pacino. I'm like, I would, yes, I want to fuck
I can
that.
see it. I can see it.
Ugh, he's so hot.
And that's the
I
end of the
love him.
podcast, you guys.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks for listening.
Well, we actually have a whole other part to go.
We
because
do? Who is it? Who'd we talk to?
We talked to your friend Zoe Lister-Jones.
Wait, which
Yay.
was just announced today. And then she's going to talk about it. And she was like, can I talk about this? Yes, she can. the movie that she made in Core that she didn't ask me to be in. Whatever, it's fine. Do you love that I didn't bring that up, but now I am? I'm such an asshole. Anyway,
A, you're drunk, and B, you weren't part of her pod.
I could have been one of those people 6 feet apart.
You could.
I'm not going to be because I wasn't in it. But the movie got into Sundance. Congratulations to my friend Zoe Lister-Jones and her husband Daryl.
Let's listen to our talk with Zoe.
Stinky pits, everyone has stinky pits. Not with each and every, they don't.
That was good.
Female founded each and every natural ingredients. It's a deodorant that makes you smell lovely. And it also keeps your armpits healthy. Guys, this is all just off the top of my head. This is what we're dealing with. This level of jingle writing talent that is being put to work.
When you're not thinking about your pits smelling bad, your brain can do incredible things. So,
that's right.
Just so you know.
Thank you, Shantira. You know what? I basically ran home today, and guess what I smell like?
An angel?
Lavender and lemon, baby. Lavender and lemon. And I'm dry. I stayed dry. And this isn't even an antiperspirant. It's just a natural deodorant with such good stuff in it that my pits are like, we abide. We don't want to cause any trouble here. We just want you to feel good, smell good. No irritating chemicals. I am a very sensitive little bean. I get irritated by almost everything.
Same.
Both emotionally and physically. And
me.
Guys, listen, we're here we go. Do your best to treat your body right. Try out each and every for yourself. We know you're going to love it. Our listeners are going to get 30% off their first purchase. Visit eachandevery.com/busy today and use the promo code BUSY. It's a limited time offer. Don't wait. Go now. Promo code BUSY at eachandevery.com/busy for 30% off. You know what makes great stocking stuffers? Natural deodorant. Here's what I love about Warby Parker. I love Warby Parker. I've loved them for a long time. Before they advertised on this podcast. Warby Parker was founded with a rebellious spirit and a lofty goal. And that is often what I say about myself.
Warby's your soulmate.
Warby Parker is my soulmate. Eyeglasses, sunglasses, contact lenses, eye exams. Warby Parker is committed to providing exceptional vision care online and in stores, offering eyeglasses, sunglasses, eye exams, contact lenses. The glasses start at $95, which I love, including prescription lenses. Sunglasses, progressives, and blue light lenses are also available. I got some blue light lenses so that I could spend all day on the computer and not get a headache or whatever the blue lens is supposed to do. I don't know, but
I have
it's
blue
supposed to
light
be good for you.
ones too. I really like them.
What is it supposed to do? I haven't. I'll put them on right now.
It's just like it's
to help with artificial light, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have the blue light glasses. It was great. I bought them online. They sent them to my house. And then I went to Warby Parker to get them adjusted to my little round face.
I love that. I love that. They'll do that for you.
Yeah.
So you go to warbyparker.com. You take the quiz. You know we love a quiz.
Love it.
You order a home try-on kit. That's exciting. That's what I did. I did that.
It's so fun to get the try-ons at your house.
Mm-hmm. And then what happens is if you don't want those glasses, you just send them back. No big deal. Nothing bad happens. But you're going to want to keep some. But then you also have to send them back because they send you a new pair, actually.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Because that happened to me. Because I was like, wait, do I just keep this pair? Nope. You send that pair back because they send you a new pair that's like made for you. Because also like maybe you need a prescription put in them. Maybe you want to get the blue light thing put in them. Like there's all kinds of ways that you have to you can customize them after you try them on at home. I love it. Well, now it's time for you to find glasses that you really love, people out there listening to this. Try Warby Parker's free home try-on program. Order 5 pairs of glasses to try at home for free for 5 days. There is no obligation for you to buy those glasses. It ships free and includes a prepaid return shipping label. So easy, even I could do it. So you try 5 pairs of glasses at home for free at warbyparker.com/ourbest. Guys, we are thrilled to be joined by a real multi-hyphenate since the start, really. You just came in guns blazing, multi-hyphenating it up.
I mean, my last name has an actual hyphen, so it was sort of like I had no choice.
You had no choice. You were a multi-hyphenate from birth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Zoe, okay, first of all, thank you for doing this. Secondly,
thank you.
I've known you for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. I know. I was trying to think about that this morning.
Me too.
We met through Ed Roasty.
Correct. Grizzly Bears, Ed Roasty, everyone at home. Was it at that dinner? Was it a dinner party and Solange was there? Was it that dinner party at that really pretty house? It was like a pretty house that nobody owned.
Potentially.
You don't get to skip over Solange. Was she performing? Was she hanging out?
No. We were just friends with her.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't consider myself a friend of hers. I would like to.
Me neither, but I pretend like I am. Still to this day. I was like, we had dinner together once 12 years ago, and we're friends.
Wait, also, and we're not, this podcast is not just going to be about Ed Roasty, but he had like a country home where he would invite his friends to. There's always like the specter of Jay-Z and Beyonce might come.
Yes. And the helicopter.
The
helicopter that circled.
Right.
Was that you? Were you on that trip?
So like we were like all so excited that there was a helicopter that circled that and it couldn't land. But everyone was like, they were so close. I was so close.
Mark and one year when we went to Coachella and Solange was playing. This was not that long ago, and we saw her. She was still with Alan, so it was however long ago that was. We saw her and Alan, and I was like, oh, we'll just walk over and go say hi. And Mark and I started to walk up to them, and we were fully blocked, and I was like, oh shit, right. I was like, I forgot.
I stand corrected. Yeah,
I'm like,
we are not friends.
No, I was like, wait, I know them. And then because then I was like, well, now I'm gonna get in. Like I couldn't deal with being stopped by the security guard because I knew I know what Mark and I look like, just like two people that are 20 years too old to be at Coachella. And I was like, no, we know them. And so the security guard, I think, got Alan's attention. And I was like, and he was like, busy, Mark. I was like, okay, yes, great.
Oh, that's such, I like the ending of that story.
Yeah, it was great.
God,
and then
it could have gone so badly.
It could have gone really badly.
And then then we talked with them for a bit. But yeah, I mean, Solange is truly a dream. But I do think that's the dinner party we met at. Okay, so Zoe, first of all, congratulations on the craft.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
So listeners, let's just go through it. I'll do this in the little thing before we even get to you. But like, you may know Zoe Lister-Jones as an actor. Life in Pieces was a big hit show. Lots of people were heartbroken when that show did not end up coming back, including you. I know a little bit.
Yeah,
you really liked it. You guys had a nice
love having
time.
a job. Yeah. No, we did, and of course, that like this was another like deep connection between you and I is that then my TV husband was Colin Hanks, and you obviously, he was
your college husband.
Was your college husband your real life college husband?
He was, for all intents and purposes, my starter marriage. Just without the marriage part. Yes, I know. And so, and we yes, and your first like big network TV show was with Whitney
Yeah.
Cummings, a
Yeah.
good friend of mine.
Yes.
You always, as I started off by saying, you always have been a multi-hyphenate. So you had co-written things before for yourself to be in. You had produced things, and then you, during Life in Pieces, put together a movie that you wrote and we're going to star in, and you directed it, which is fantastic. And if you guys haven't seen Band-Aid, I'm sure you got a lot of time on your hands right now, guys. There's another Spike. Where is it streaming, Zoe? Everywhere? I don't know how
It's
this works.
it's on like iTunes. I that's what I go to. I don't know. There's too many platforms to like figure out where things are. I just go to the little magnifying glass on the
And
Apple
type it
TV
in.
and just type it in.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I
So-
always just say Siri and then like see where she brings
Yeah.
it. Where
Siri,
it comes
watch Band-Aid.
But Band-Aid's an incredible movie, which also you managed to fold in another one of your hyphens, which is musician. You are a musician in it with Adam Pally. And then this opportunity showed up for Zoe to write and direct The Craft reboot, sequel.
Yeah.
The classic.
Are we calling it?
It is.
It's
well,
like
it is a sequel, but I feel like before it was like released, I didn't want to call it that because I wanted the sequelness to be on the down low.
but like a sequel 30 years later, is it really a sequel?
It's not. No,
No.
I always say it's like a reimagining, but
Right.
it does take place in the same universe.
Right. And so that movie, I'm sure you all have seen because it was a huge hit and it came out right before Halloween.
But if you haven't,
But if you haven't, again, hopefully you're going to be spending a lot of time in your house and not
Yeah.
at fucking parties, guys, in the next
Yeah.
several
Yeah.
weeks. Being
Everyone
safe.
should be
So-
home, but also like this is that time of year right after Thanksgiving where everyone's done. Like
Mhm.
you got stuff to do, but like we done, right? Like
Yeah.
It's a month of Friday afternoons.
yeah, we're all just kind of like, well, why should we do this? In 2 weeks, we're off. Everyone is actually done, so you can watch the movie, y'all.
Yeah.
Yep. Right in the
True.
middle of your work from home day.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, sorry, I'm in a meeting. It's called The
Yeah.
Craft.
By the way, we all need to harness all of our witchiness. You know what
Yeah.
I
Oh my
mean?
God.
So there's a lot. I put on my witch. Oh my God. So there's no shade at all. I totally forgot we were doing the podcast today. That's just typical for me that's like
Truly
par
no
for the
shade.
course.
Yeah.
That I
You're
don't
doing your
remember.
best. You're literally
I'm
doing your best.
truly. And I put on my little witch medallion today.
Oh my God.
Isn't that weird?
What is that?
It's a little medallion that one of the Eric Gurian, one of the producers on, did he get it or did you get it?
No, Eric gave them
Got
as
it for
gifts
us.
to you and I.
Yeah.
Because
Oh.
Busy and I would always say, like, we're witches. And that's like something that kind of, not to scare people, because it does scare people sometimes. That is like probably what I most ascribe to. But Busy has all of these magical properties as a person. So she would always say, like, we would say, like, this is going to happen, and and we're like putting our intentions out there, and then it would happen. And then we always talked about how we needed a third witch, and Eric
Power of
Gurian-
3 will set you free.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Eric Gurian desperately wanted to be the third witch.
Oh.
And I would just scream at him, "You're not a witch, Eric!"
And he'd be like, okay, but like think about it.
Anyway, I put on my witch medallion today, so there were witchy vibes
That
in the air.
is. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, I feel like we've needed witchy vibes for a long time, but now more than ever.
Listen, I want to talk about pivots with you, Zoe, but I also want to know if anything witchy happened while you guys were filming, and if you felt the power.
Yes.
Okay. I want to know all the witchy things.
Okay. Well, we had 3 real witches who were our consultants.
Witch consultants.
Fantastic.
Witch consultants, which is a job.
You know what I love
And,
about Zoe? She does not fuck around.
Well, you shouldn't fuck around with
No,
that.
you don't
No,
want to
you
fuck
really
around with
shouldn't.
witches.
You shouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
I had no interest in fucking around. I also wanted to like create a movie that was, I don't know, like respectful of the witchcraft community and that was representative of witchcraft traditions of yore, but also contemporary, witchcraft traditions. So yeah, we had these 3 rad witches. So cool. And so that was the coolest. And Pam Grossman, she wrote a book, actually, if anyone listening is interested in witchcraft, called Waking the Witch, which is like this amazing comprehensive
I want
history. You gotta read it. It's amazing.
Okay.
And she wrote all the spells in the film. And so like, she couldn't be on set because we shot it in Toronto, but we had a Canadian witch named Erin Fogel. She was
that is really, we had a Canadian witch.
Yeah.
And we were lucky to have one.
Yep. Very polite witch. And she, and so she was like there to make sure that we were doing everything correctly and the ritual objects were being used correctly. But she was also there to like actually close the circle at the beginning of the day and open the circle at the end of the day, so that like whatever we were conjuring, however unconsciously, with these spells and rituals, even though like Pam I think said, what did she say? She said magic doesn't know you're making a movie, which I love.
I really believe in like, you have to, especially when you're working in this industry where like things get so blurred so frequently, you have to acknowledge it, because if you don't, then things get real weird. They can get real weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so she would like protect you guys essentially.
So she would protect us, and we did have to have her come at one point. We shot. David Duchovny is in the film. He plays sort of like the patriarch, and
my favorite.
Yeah, he's the best. And
I feel like you could be his daughter.
Oh, interesting.
Do you know what I mean?
I'll take it. Yeah.
You both have strong jawlines.
I would like to be like.
I love that.
Yeah, I'll take it. He does feel like family to me. I really do adore him. But
wait, you could be Mulder and Scully's daughter. That's really
that's it. Oh my God, that's it.
I was going to say it, but I felt like it was self-congratulatory.
It had to come.
You know what I mean?
It had to come.
Yes,
from
it had to come
outside.
from you,
Yeah,
and I appreciate you.
But
And
now that
what
I've
I
said
said
it, that's
still
all I can
stands.
see.
Strong. They both have strong jawlines. So
Strong
everything I said
jaws.
Still stands.
Okay, so we started.
And is it? Wait, no, I'm going to get to the scary stuff. But wait, is it Gillian or Gillian? Gillian Anderson.
Jillian.
It's
Jillian.
It's
Gillian.
Jillian.
It's a hard. It's Gillian.
It's Gillian Anderson. Right?
Gillian
Jacobs.
Yeah.
Gillian
Jacobs.
It's a real GIF situation.
It really
Yeah.
is. But it's
Gillian
Jillian.
Jacobs really fucked everything up for me, because now I'm like, is your name pronounced weird too? Anyway, Gillian Anderson, I just want to say she's aging in reverse, and whatever she's doing, I'd like to know, because she's like the most beautiful. She's always been the most beautiful, but like as she ages, she becomes so much more, even more beautiful.
When white people mind their business, they age appropriately. She is minding her business.
That's right.
Yeah. And she is aging appropriately.
That's right.
And
that's the secret.
And when you be fucking up, you look like shit. Everybody we can't stand looks like they're literally melting. That's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that. When you mind your business, you don't look like shit.
Okay, so anyway, so we're in the set that David Duchovny's character lives in, and it's like an old mansion. It's very beautiful. But when we did our like tech scout, like with the crew, to check it out, my DP, who, it's funny, like I worked with my DP, Hilary Spira, she's amazing, on Band-Aid as well, but until you work on like a witch movie, you don't you don't learn that basically so many people are like witches. Do you know what I mean? Like where and witch is a category that I think I was really interested in exploring in this film, that like it defies, the sort of paradigm that most people think of, but we're all sort of witches in our own way. Oh, yeah. And so I didn't know that she had an intuitive gift. And so she walked into the house just during this tech scout and was like, ooh. And I was like, what's up? Like, not enough light, or like, what are you feeling? And she was like, no, there's just an energy in here that I think we're going to be fine. It's not malicious. It's just intense. And I was like, I'm going to ignore everything you just said because I can't take that on right now. And so we went through with filming there, and I sort of like forgot that, and willfully forgot that. And then when we started shooting there, everyone started complaining of different sort of things that they were feeling that they couldn't explain. Like,
Oh my God.
and this is like Toronto sort of like dude crew, you know, like not people who are
Right.
like, I feel funny in my tummy. Like they were like, but they were, a lot of people started talking about like a weight on their chest that they were feeling or feeling sort of short of breath. The lights would turn on and off. And
classic. That's a classic.
classic. It's a classic. It's a classic. What's up? And then our the craziest thing was our lead actress, Kaylee Spaney, who's amazing. She was in her holding area, which was like in the attic. Sorry,
Right.
Kaylee. And so she like came down to shoot a scene, and she left her phone in her holding area, and she locked it, you know, like whatever, and then came downstairs. And when she went back upstairs, her phone, she unlocked it, and there was a photo that had been
No.
taken
No.
on her phone
No.
that was of an orb. It looked
No.
like the inside of an eyeball almost. And she was like, what the fuck? And everyone was feeling, this was like sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. So we like rang up Canadian Witch,
Yeah.
Erin Fogel, and she pulled up, and she, you know, like before our shooting day, and just had like a talking to with the spirits. And then she circled the perimeter of the house with salt, which is a protective measure.
Good move.
And then the next few days, like until we were done shooting, it did calm down slightly.
Interesting.
But at the end of the shoot, the owner of the house came back, and I was like, hey, what's the history
No.
of this place? And he said it was a hospice, and over 300 people died inside.
No,
Oh
thank
my
you.
God.
That's gonna be a no
Yeah.
for me, dog.
That's your new first question when you
Yeah.
scout a location going forward.
Right? That's okay.
Whoa.
Growing up, my grandmother lived like literally like you could look out the window and see a graveyard. Like that's how close we
Oh
lived. to
my
one.
God.
And I really think that we all have kind of felt stuff and been like, I'm going to
Yeah.
completely, fully ignore that. But what I have known growing up is that they will not be ignored. So you better like acknowledge it. And you could be like, hey, I'm in here. You got to be chill. Cause like I'm alive. So like you can't be doing weird stuff to me. And they'll be like, okay, bet. But like if you come in and you like don't talk to them, they'll be like, well, I'll just do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Exactly like us.
Yeah.
Spirits. They're just like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just me. So that's been my
No,
ghost,
it is,
my ghost
like-
experience.
Ghosts don't like to be ghosted. Hey.
Truly, that's the truth. It's like,
So,
they're
okay.
like, we're here. I'm gonna turn this light on, bitch.
Yeah.
So Zoe, you're like, you know, just really, I feel like you have really come into your own in all the ways, in career wise. But let's discuss the pivot. Like you've always struck me in our friendship as a person who is like constantly driven, and you want to like find the next thing and figure out how to do it the best way and figure out how to make it even better than somebody else would do it. and I just am curious, A, where that comes from, and B, if it was born out of a feeling that that was a necessity for you, or if it was just like a thing that is born in you, that you've always been this way.
Well, I guess, first of all, thank you for saying all those nice things about me. I guess, like, both my parents are visual artists,
Right.
and I think neither of them, while brilliant, neither of them were ever acknowledged by the art world in the way that I believe they should have been. And so I think I was really aware of that pain growing up. And I actually was pretty afraid of becoming an artist because of that, because of what I saw it meant. Like I understood very well that it was nearly impossible to make a living from art, and that most of that life was heartbreak. And so I think like when I got into Tisch, I got a scholarship to Tisch, to be to their theater school, and I was like, I don't want to go. And my mom, like in a funny reversal, because I feel like most parents are like, yeah, no, don't go to acting school. She was like, no, do go. But I always had this sort of fear. So I think once I committed to being an artist, I was like, I cannot fail. Like, I just was like, I have to figure out how to make this work, because I think the fear was so great of what, not even failing, because we're always, failing upwards or whatever, but, or failing downwards or failing in general. And the heartbreak is inescapable no matter how many successes you might have. But I think that was definitely like a big motivating factor for me, was always just like, you got to make this thing work, and I think as an actor, like right when I graduated from NYU, I had written a one-woman show,
right?
Just sort of like, LOL, but I did, and
You're just like Emma, what's her name from La La Land?
Emma Stone.
Right?
I'm just
Emma Stone.
like, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
Emma Stone from La La Land.
Yeah, that's right. Except for I never fucked Ryan Gosling. Yeah. Like, I think also I understood that writing was a way for me to like process how big my feelings were all the time. And I know that we all share, we're all deeply feeling people here on this podcast.
Crying? Heard of it?
Yeah. Heard of it?
You guys, I finally did it. I'm really a New Yorker, guys. Last night I broke down and was sobbing on the street in New York.
Yeah,
And it was like, I felt like, well, she's here. She's really done it now.
You
I
have
was
to
on
reach
the
the next
train.
level when you comfort someone on the street, when you're like ready with tissues and you're ready to be like, you're going to be okay.
Copy
That's-
that.
I
I'm
love
into
that. You know that me and New York are not friends, but I do love how much talk about Gillian Anderson. People in New York mind their motherfucking business. You get on the train, you sit down, and you cry like a motherfucker, and they just be like, "Okay, yeah, that's cool."
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
you
do a
just
going
tissue.
through it.
yeah,
Going
like
through it.
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of cities where you got to get in your car. There's a lot of cities where you got to go home and close the door. Not New York. Sit
No.
down and cry right here, and everybody will be like, "Yeah, this is a good place. The whole city is a good place to cry." I love
Lots
that.
of people stepped around me, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Lots of
Yeah.
people,
Oh my
just
God.
a wide berth.
Zoe, you were saying that writing was a way for you to process your big feelings.
Yeah. There are so many times, because making movies is so hard. It's really fucked up and hard. And there have been many times where I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. But then like I'll have, feelings that I don't know what to do with. And so I start to write about them. And it is sort of like the only way I know how. I compare it, I don't have children, but I've heard from those who do that when you have a baby, you're like, I'm never gonna do that again because that was so hard, like the pregnancy and labor and all of it. And then you like forget, and then you have another one.
Right.
Because
That's the only way any second child ever gets born.
right.
Is that amnesia.
Right. And I think
Right.
that,
And even though like you kind of don't really forget, it like takes the edge off. And then also you have the baby. You have the kid.
well, that's the thing. Right.
So like you're like, oh, I had this thing. That's like
I
amazing.
did it.
I can
Yeah.
do it again because the end result is so rewarding in so many ways.
I will say
Right.
this. Okay, so like when my mom had me, she told them to tie them tubes immediately.
She did.
She said,
That's a true story.
She said, I did not like that. I will not be doing that again. I love her. Wrap it up. So
She didn't wait for that amnesia to set in. You gotta give it
Nisa
day.
said, I will never forget. So I will say there's also that.
There's that.
But can I ask you though, like, because we are all very, very highly feeling people, and a lot of us do put our feelings in our art. Are there particular feelings where you're like, I want to put it in my art to let other people know that like they're feeling it too. Like what makes you decide?
I always had wondered about Band-Aid, Shantira, like if that was a personal story for you, because you and Daryl haven't had any kids, and like that sort of is what the story of Band-Aid is about, a couple who like wants to have a kid, but then she has a miscarriage, and that's really painful for her to go through. And you don't have to, do not have to answer any of it. But I just was like always curious if you use autobiographical things in your stories, in your movie making, or if you're just like, okay.
Oh no, I always do, and I don't know how not to. And even in something like The Craft, like that project was brought to me where Blumhouse was like, "Do you want to pitch a take on what you might imagine this to be?" And it is like an exciting way like of channeling when you're talking about like witchy shit. But like immediately I sat on my computer and my own teenage trauma was like, it just poured out of me. It was like my mom, she raised me on her own when I was in high school. And she moved me into her boyfriend's house with his 3 sons. And so we went from this super like sort of divine feminine and feminist space to a pretty toxically masculine space. And it was super traumatic for me. And I didn't even realize that was something that I needed to unpack until I had a script to unpack it within. Do you know what I mean? And that's like kind of what is most exciting about the creative process in that way for me is like, with Band-Aid too, like, because I found the process of filmmaking to be so, traumatizing in so many ways that I was like, how could I make this fun for myself? And so I started with songs where I was just like, I want to write songs. I want to play songs, and that will create joy. And then as I started writing those songs, I realized what I was actually trying to process, which was, like grief and trying to understand how couples love through conflict. And then it does become super therapeutic. And I will say that Daryl, my husband, and I, the first film that we made was called Breaking Upwards. And that was a movie that Daryl decided we were in an open relationship when we're in our early 20s.
You guys have been together, for those at home, I mean, forever? Is that fair?
Yeah, since birth. Yeah, it was an arranged marriage. And no, we've been together for 16 and a half years. And so when we were, little babies, we were in an open relationship, and he started writing about it. And it was such a, it was such a bold, and sort of transparent, showcase of what we were actually going through. And I was like, can we do that? And we did. And it was really complicated because then we sort of became like spokespeople for non-monogamy in a way that I didn't necessarily feel comfortable with. But that was sort of the start of like,
I love that.
It was like the start of like the work being also the therapy, like in this weird way. Yeah. That was a long way of saying I got a lot to work out, and there's a hell of a lot more. It's only the beginning.
Bev, I want a Bev right fucking now. I'm not even kidding you. I really do. I really want a Bev. It's 5:00 here. You guys, I want a fucking Bev. Where is my Bev? Someone go get me a Bev. I wish that one of you were here. I wish that anyone was here with me.
So we could go get you a Bev.
We could have a Bev together. I wish that it wasn't a global pandemic.
I know that rosé it really hits, man. That rosé hits.
You guys, did you guys see it? Were you guys tagged in that? A few people have purchased Bevs and tagged us.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, guys, we're not joking. It is real
delightful.
Good.
It's truly
delightful. I like the extra fizzy sparkling white wine for the holidays because also you can make that into an Aperol spritz, which is like real delicious. And the wines, there's rosé that I also love. I love rosé, Sauv Blanc, Pinot Gris. It was female founded. which I love. I also love that. It's a female-first canned wine brand that was founded to change not only the way a product is consumed, but the way an industry and culture have operated for generations. Because it's an industry that's almost exclusively masculine, and Bev is breaking norms and creating something from the female perspective that's approachable, fun, and consumer-centric. Did I just read all of that? Yes. Do I believe it in my core? Yes. Support women who have good ideas and start brands that are amazing. If Oprah still had her talk show, I guarantee you the women who founded Bev would be guests on an episode, like when she had those episodes where it was like ladies like who changed their lives. You know what I mean? In fact, you know what I'm going to say? Why don't we have these ladies on this podcast?
I would love
I want to know. I want to talk to the Bev ladies. I really do. Their 4-packs are perfect and the cutest holiday gift for anyone on your list. And the best part, okay, there's 0 sugar, only 3 carbs, 100 calories per serving. That's not the best part. You know, I don't fuck with I don't care about counting calories and stuff like that. But the best part to me is that each can is a glass and a half of wine, which is the perfect amount of wine with dinner for me.
So perfect.
Yeah.
I could talk all day about Bev. I love it.
It's great that you don't have to open a bottle and be like, damn,
That's
I have
right.
a whole half. The fizzy bubbles are going to be gone out of my
That's right.
sparkling. It's like, boom, this is the amount
Even
I
if
want.
you try to just get that cork back in as tight as you can, it never is the same. and like now, you know, I don't want to be wasteful. It's too expensive to be wasteful. I love Bev. We've worked out a deal for you guys listening at home. For the Busy Phillips is doing her best podcast listeners, that's you. Right now, you receive 20% off your first purchase plus free shipping on all orders. I personally am going to just suggest that you try the best-selling Ladies Night Variety Pack so you check out all of the delicious varietals. Go to drinkbev.com/busy or use code BUSY busy at the checkout to claim the deal. That's drinkbev.com/busy. Zoe, I might have found the next thing. I feel like you and I should do something together. I went up in the Hudson Valley. I went to this outdoor antique flea market last month. It was amazing stuff, but I also was like, I just have a car. I'm not like, you know, you have to take that shit with you when there's no so you guys deliver, right? To New York City? They're like, no, you're taking the fucking coffee table with you. So I was looking around, and then the last stop, right as we were going out, I saw these 2 little hedgehogs, and they really cute mid-century clay hedgehogs. And I was like, I gotta get those little hedgehogs.
That's an add to cart.
They're this big. And as I was handing them to the woman, this little red book caught my eye, and it says My Journal 1979, which is the year I was born.
Whoa.
And I picked it up, and the woman was like, I've been waiting to see who's gonna get it.
Whoa.
And I was like, it's me. I'm gonna get it.
I am the one you've been waiting for.
I'm the one. And she was like, I'm very curious to see what you'll do with it. There's a lot in there.
Whoa.
And so wait, can I tell you, because I've been so focused on Girls 5 Eva, which is a whole journey. So I have not even cracked it yet, but it is itching at me, and I can't wait. And I feel like it's going to be real good. I know.
Oh yeah.
I know.
That's the beginning of something.
Yeah.
Did you have when you guys decided to move to LA, was that a calculated decision? Did that feel like a big dramatic choice? What was the thing that had you leave? What was it?
I was raised in Brooklyn. I really never thought I would leave. And then in acting school, I had, do you know Kristen Johnson? You know her? Anyway, she came gave a guest class.
I do know her.
Yeah. And she was like, don't go to LA unless you have a job there. And I took that advice very seriously, and I didn't. And so I worked in New York, like in theater and indie films, and all the Law and Order franchises, obviously.
Right. I'm sure all of them.
All of them. And then I got Whitney. And so, and Whitney, she came to New York, and she was like the first, as we know, it's like I was grinding for so long in pilot season where I was just like, am I ever going to get a show? Like, I just was like, it might be a wrap on me and TV, and then and
Whitney, you were 24. Just by the way, guys.
No,
I'm serious. How old
No,
are you?
I was like, it is. That's when you're
I was like
24. That's
28.
the oldest you've ever been.
I know.
28.
No, I was 28. I was 28. And I had been working, it had been 7 years, and it felt like a long time. And like since graduating college, and then Whitney like really believed in me, and she did all of this amazing shit. She was like, you need to be on this show. And when she tested me, she paid for me to get my hair dyed red because she had brown hair and they thought that we looked too similar. But this was like before I had gotten the job, like she was like championing me in a way that I had never been championed before. And I got that gig. And so then I moved to LA temporarily. And then we got a season 2. And we did the thing that everyone says never to do, which is to like buy a place
immediately
before season 2, because you know that you're going to get canceled that next season, and which we did. We were promptly canceled 13 episodes later. But now I have to say, especially in quarantine and since Life in Pieces was canceled, I miss New York so much. And I have a lot of envy for your current situation, Busy. I'm like, you just fucking packed it in LA.
It was weird.
And we're like, this is what I'm doing now. This is who I am.
After 22 years of being there.
It's wild. But you moved before you got the gig, right?
I had a witchy vibe. I was open. I was just very open. But that's my question to you about your writing, like even with the craft reboot, because that's an assignment job, Hollywood break for people at home. Like as Zoe said, Blumhouse had the rights to this movie, and a lot of times film companies will have the rights to franchises, and they put the call out to writers to give their takes, writers and directors. How do you stay open to yourself, to letting the stories from whatever it is that you're like, trying to work through come out like that? How do you keep that channel open? Just weed or what?
I've never written high, which is crazy because I do like to smoke weed. Yeah.
You've gotten me higher than I've ever been.
I know that. I do know that.
I passed out one time. It was terrible.
I think that because it's so difficult to write shit and to then direct shit and all that stuff, there's no part of me that wants to do something that is not important to me. You know what I mean? Like, and so, and that also is sometimes not a good quality to have, because those jobs are pay really big sometimes, but
you get offered way more shit you don't want to do than you do want to do.
Sure. And it is like a question of what you want to really devote your time and energy to. And so I think like when something like The Craft came in, even though it was like incoming and it wasn't, and it was like a property and a sort of like container that I had to work within, I was like, oh, I see myself. I know how I can like live and breathe in this, and how like my soul can be free,
What are you working on now? What are you going to do? What are you feeling? Are you going to do an album? What's happening, Zoe? What's next? What's the pivot? What are we doing?
Daryl and I shot a movie in quarantine, which was crazy. And so that just was accepted into Sundance.
Oh my God, wild.
So
I can't wait.
Yeah. So that, and then I have been writing like the beginning of a book. And it's not like, that's a real pivot because I've never done that. But I've always loved creative writing. So I'm trying to sort of like figure out what that means for me. And it's just been like a fun experiment. And I think that is the beauty of this, like, trash fire that has been 2020, is that you are able to sort of be like, let me see what this weird endeavor feels like, you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
I have to say, like, having The Craft come out, you must be feeling pretty fucking great because, you know what I mean? Like, to have something great come out during 2020 that's like, creatively, like, that's like a huge win.
I also wrote a television series in quarantine that I'm like, you know, now like still developing, but it just, I think like I was facing like, oh, am I addicted to work in a way that is problematic, you know? Like,
Are you?
yeah, I think in some ways, like I
Yeah,
don't.
because I was gonna say you're so prolific. Like, even when I was just watching, like, I feel like I do a lot of shit.
You do
know?
a lot of shit.
Yeah, I feel like I do a lot, but I think of you as like the one person who I'm always like, how did she do that? What the fuck, Zoe? Like, I guess I just am always like, how does that keep churning
Yeah.
for you? And like, at what point do you get like, ugh, I really should just take a break?
Well, I have breakdowns a lot, and I think and like
Like emotional or just
yeah,
like
emotional,
yeah,
fully, and so I think like that's something that I have had to really look at. Like I've been looking at addiction in general in this time, because like there are so many ways that we use any number of things that aren't necessarily drugs or alcohol, you know what I mean, to numb pain or to avoid things. And I was reading a book that was like talking about work addiction, where I was like, didn't realize that was one of the things like that are, you know, that if you understand your value to be your productivity, which so many of us do, then when you're not being productive, you feel really fucking shitty, you know, and how do you face that person and say you're okay, and even what you're watching on Netflix doesn't have to be somehow related to a future project, you know, like that, like there's never a moment to just be like, I'm just doing this. I'm like, and I think for women too, this is a big thing of like, how do I just follow like a pleasure principle, you know?
Great song.
A great song.
Shout out to Janet.
Like it's Janet forever. But how, you know, like how do I've always had a hard time of like, what will just be fun or what will just be meaningful that is not about, like me creating something that then will elevate my career, you know, or something.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I mean,
we've talked about that. We've all been going through that to some degree.
Yeah.
I know Caissie really had that thing, has really struggled with that this year. Especially like your identity being tied to work success and being tied to like the projects that you're able to know that you have going or whatever.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time with it too. I always have, though. I knew that was the beginning of my Instagram career. That's what that breakdown crisis was for me.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I think that's really relatable even if you're not in a creative pursuit.
Because that is addiction, right? Whether it's like you're using alcohol to disconnect yourself from those feelings, or drugs, or food, or
another
shopping,
person, or another person.
Or, and I think America overall is probably addicted to just activity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And which is so weird, but yes, we are all like, I got to go to soccer. I got to go to Target. I got to go to the coffee shop and wait in line. Just like everybody has this program of like kind of meaningless bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Obviously, there are ways that your work or the things that you're doing to keep busy can also be a way to process, as we talked about, some of those feelings. But still, it's like a gray area, I guess, of like what the ultimate goal is. And who of us is creating just in a vacuum? Nobody, right? We're all looking for some sort of validation or love that we are, you know, desperately craving because our inner children are just like,
I mean,
screaming.
you don't start we're doing a podcast. If I don't need validation in 2020, I don't fucking know what else.
Zoe, I'm really looking forward to seeing your quarantine film.
Me too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's myself and Kaylee Spaney, who's actually the star of The Craft.
Right.
And she was living in LA at the time, and she was 21, and just I mean, it's been hard on everybody, but I really do. My heart goes out to like people that age, especially, who are just sort of entering the world.
And like late teens. I was thinking about like all the like seniors in high school, like Caisie's son.
I have a
He's senior, and I was just like,
21-year-old and an 18-year-old.
Oh my God. So you're in it.
Brutal.
Like
I know they don't get it. They're
Yeah.
not making out with weird people in bars and like the next day being like, oh God, what was that? That was terrible.
Is just so it's so overwhelming. And so she like basically became like our pod. And we were spending a lot of time together, and we were talking a lot, she and Daryl and I, about our inner children, because our most vulnerable little selves who are like who haven't been paid attention to because of all of the things that we have been talking about, of all of the distractions. And so it's basically it's the last day on Earth, and Kaylee is my younger self, and we are walking the empty streets of Los Angeles, sort of contending with what this day means, and we then are checking off like a list of people that we need to say goodbye to before we're like on our way to the final party, which Whitney Cummings is hosting.
Honestly, this autobiographical? That feels like autobiography, because that seems like a documentary. This is really
it was basically a documentary. It's basically like a parallel universe to the one we're living in, which is like an apocalyptic landscape where you are really having to face like the hardest questions of your life. So it was super therapeutic, but also really challenging.
That's real exciting. What are they going to do for Sundance this year? Can you buy tickets like virtually or whatever?
Yeah, well, there'll be a virtual premiere, but then they're also going to do drive-ins around the country, which is awesome. And I actually, I haven't been to a drive-in yet, but
I hope that becomes like a real norm. I know that movie theaters are vastly not going to be the same necessarily, but I think that, I mean, I'm Black, so I don't want to do shit from the 50s, but I do like a drive-in movie. They really had something there.
I'm excited. I think our drive-in is going to be at the Rose Bowl, which is like I've only been to because I don't partake in any sort of like sports spectatorship.
No.
But I have been to the Rose Bowl to see Beyonce, and so that is my only connection to that place.
Honestly, worth it.
Oh my God.
We've come full circle.
Yeah.
We
Full
really
circle.
have. We started
From
with Solange and
Beyonce.
Beyonce.
And we came back to Beyonce. I'm
Back to
I
Beyonce
love
at
it.
the Rose Bowl.
No.
Yes.
Have you had your moment with
Everything
Beyonce yet? Have you had a moment with Beyonce yet?
Well, I wouldn't call it a moment, but I'll say a couple moments. One is that I went to see her documentary, like the first HBO.
Yeah.
And we're back to Ed Drosty of Grizzly Bear, if we've forgotten. And so he, of course, had like hung out with her a bunch. And so we were hanging out at the after party. And so we spoke to Jay-Z, but Queen Bee was like, of course, surrounded by like a lot of people. So I was like, do we get to talk to her? And Ed sort of like shimmied over and said, hi, I just saw her from afar. But at the Rose Bowl, she did lock eyes with me. And I know that that's true. and it was a connection that was like no other connection I've ever had.
Right.
My Jay-Z story is really embarrassing, which was there was a place in the West Village in New York that used to be like a real spot called the Spotted Pig. And I went there one night with Josh Hartnett. Don't worry about it. And so Josh was like hanging out with like just the most random assortment of celebrities where you were just like, wait, you all hang out together? Like, what is the connection aside from fame? And I don't need a different connection than that. I'm just like, I'm into this. So anyway, Jay-Z was there with like Gwyneth Paltrow and like just very they're not a random pairing, but Michael Stipe was there. It was a really
I also saw Michael Stipe once at the Spotted Pig. I just told this story.
Ed Burns. It was a real like who's who of that,
and
that
Christy
moment.
Turlington.
Christy was there as well.
Obviously.
anyway, and Jay-Z was there, and I died, and I've had so many stories where I like become a complete and total weirdo with like a famous person and embarrass myself. But with Jay-Z, I was trying to talk, like, I didn't know, it was such a small group of people, you know, and I'd never been in that situation before. And we were like dancing. Gwyneth put a Jay-Z song on, which I found uncomfortable. And then as I was leaving, I went up to him and I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, "Good night, Sean."
No.
I don't think that's embarrassing.
That's terrible.
Why?
And because I don't know him that way.
What did he say?
He was like, "Good night." And then
Wait, that's amazing. I do love that. Well, I do know from being in Soul Cycle classes with Jay-Z and Beyonce that Jay-Z does not mind when his music comes on. In fact, he enjoys it.
he requests it.
I don't know if he requests it, but he does enjoy it.
He doesn't mind
cycles
it.
real hard.
I would.
My last Beyonce story is that I was at a birthday party that she was at a couple years ago, and
Was it Ed Drosty's?
it was not.
I'm kidding.
No, but and there was a dance floor, and I was on it dancing with Daryl, and she and Jay-Z were standing like just like, you know, like the dance floor was like an inch off the ground. There was very little difference between the dance floor and the regular floor, but they were standing just off the dance floor, but like within a foot of me. And I felt that I was dancing for them. And
I think you put a lot of pressure on yourself when it comes to Beyonce and Sean. I think you got to give yourself a break.
I can't. There's no break. No.
They're just living rent free in your head. You got to.
I will say that the days when Jay-Z and Beyonce were in those Soul Cycle classes, everyone worked so fucking hard in that class.
Sure.
Everyone worked hard.
Yes.
Except for your girl, who was just doing the same thing I always would do.
When my son was little, he went to the daycare at the Rosie O'Donnell show where I was a writer, and Destiny's Child came on the show very often.
Oh my God.
And one day when they were on the show, I went to the nursery to get my son for lunch, and they were like, "Oh, Destiny's Child came and got him, and he's on the set with them while they're rehearsing," because they like babies, you know, they think it's fun to play with babies. So I just went on the set and saw my son was like a little toddler guy, and Beyonce was holding him on her hip, and I was like, "Hey bud, there you are." And she was like, "Tell mommy what I taught you to say." And then my son said, "Beyonce is my fiance."
Wait, that is the greatest Beyonce story of all time.
How do you just let me like talk about my fucking drivel when you were sitting on that?
Please, I was like, I've been in Soul Cycle with them. Come on.
You're like, she's the godmother to my child.
Not really, but the funniest thing is whenever my son would then when he was in preschool, he'd hear, you know, Beyonce singing, and then he'd be like, "I kind of know Beyonce," and people would be like, "You do not," and I'd be like, "Well, he hasn't met her."
He did have that 45 minutes on her hip.
Oh my
Engagement.
God, that is
amazing.
iconic. What a life.
It's truly iconic.
Wow.
What a flex.
Well, Zoe,
everybody.
Yeah.
listen, I can't thank you enough. I think you should write a movie for Beyonce.
Oh my God. That's the
Guaranteed
rest of
Oscar.
quarantine. That's the rest of my quarantine. We've cracked it.
Breaking the Beyonce movie that you're going to write
I think
and direct.
it starts with you, Busy, at the flea market.
Mhm.
The journal is hers.
Yes.
And she's in the 70s,
Yes.
Yeah.
right?
I love it.
It's a Beyonce period piece, but
Yeah.
it starts kind of like Neverending Story with you in the present.
I love it. I love it so
Perfect.
much.
You and Fred Savage are at the flea market.
I knew it was
Blumhouse,
going to be
do
Fred
you hear
Savage.
this?
I swear to God, I knew you were going to say Fred Savage. I swear to God, I knew it.
And that's why
Real
she's
weird.
a witch, folks. And that's
All
why she's
right.
a witch.
It is. All right. Well, I adore you.
Zoe Lister-Jones, it was such a pleasure to talk to you. And
You're
I
a
also
delight.
I want to thank you for having a great Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
It's the best one I think anyone's had so far. on the
Best sound
podcast.
we've had in
Really?
a long while.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I'll take that. Yeah. I made that connection because 2020 is really about connection, you know?
It's all about connection.
It's all about connection. It was such a pleasure and honor to be here today.
Oh, thank you.
Keep being
And,
prolific. I can't wait to read.
You too.
Zoe's gonna be one of the people that, like, you know, they're like, just on Twitter, it got so annoying to me when people are like, you shouldn't, if you can't write a novel during court, don't feel pressure to do anything. And Zoe's like, I actually did it all.
I don't.
I
feel
made
any
a
pressure,
movie.
but I am doing it.
I broke an entire series. I outlined it, wrote it, sold it.
But listen, I never baked a loaf of sourdough, and that's also,
You know?
it's about. I wish that I could know how to do that.
You can buy that.
That's right.
That you can
That's
just
right.
buy.
Wait, before we go, I'll just say this: all bread should cost $1,000. After you make one loaf of bread, the amount of work that it takes, and they sell it for like $2. I made some bread, and I was like, "This should be $100 million." Like, we throw this at birds? Foolish. So hard, so expensive, so much work. We just throw it on the ground. I will never throw a loaf of bread on the ground to a bird.
God.
It's too much work. So you didn't make sourdough. It's okay. It's too fucking hard. It's hard as fuck.
You know, I didn't make any bread. All right, Zoe, we love you.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Zoe, I love Zoe, and I am kidding. I'm not. I wasn't upset that I wasn't asked to be in her.
I loved how much Beyonce gossip that interview had.
Listen, here's what I'm going to say. Zoe and I both love Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
Everybody does.
I mean, who doesn't? And the people
Everybody
who don't,
who's correct loves her.
and everybody who doesn't, stop trying to tell people who like her why you don't. We don't fucking care.
Yeah, knock it off.
It's annoying. It's annoying.
Knock it off.
If you don't like Beyonce or Magic, stay the fuck away from me.
Oh my God, did you guys watch the Bee Gees documentary?
I heard it's fantastic. I'm gonna watch it this weekend when I'm recovering.
Oh my God. First of all, they're hot.
So
Secondly, well, Andy
Is the
Gibb,
hottest.
the littlest, who
the
tragically,
youngest.
I'm
R.I.P.
sorry,
hot.
but there were
hotness.
some shots of him where I was like, that looks exactly like Heath Ledger.
Oh, yes. I could see that. I could see that.
Exactly like him.
I gotta
And
go
You know
watch
what was so shocking? He was like, he was a baby in the, they showed him as like a little kid. And then he started to like get famous in his teen years. Like he got into the family business.
Mm-hmm.
What 17-year-old is as hairy as Andy Gibb was? Did you see that?
Well, in
Did
the
you see that?
70s, they made him different. Everybody was
Why
hairy as
is
hell.
that? Why in
Everybody
the
was
70s?
so hairy.
Wait,
What
you guys.
was
Wait,
even
guys.
happening?
Guys, I have to tell you a story about my show. You're going to
Okay.
love it.
Okay.
So, without giving too much away, I did have to do a thing that involved wearing like those kind of like sheer but like shiny tights.
Yeah.
And then like a leotard
Mhm.
that was sort of high cut leotard, you know?
French.
Yeah,
cut.
like those
French-
80s.
Exactly. And yeah, like early 90s, right. And a French cut leotard and those tights that are like sheer all the way up to the waist.
Mhm.
So anyways, I'm doing this thing. And then the woman who is my stand-in comes up and she's like, so I think you should just go to the restroom maybe. I feel like when you do the kick, you can really see some hair. And you guys, do you know what is worse than like pubic hair peeking out of the side of like a leotard or a bathing suit? It is pubic hair smashed flat against tights.
Like when a robber puts
Like,
a pantyhose over their face.
Tights. They're just like smash. Right? And I was like, oh my fucking God. That is so horrifying. But also great looking out. great
Yeah.
looking out. Thank you. I love you.
Also,
for
that means that you're a good person, because if you were like a real bitch, if you're that stand-in, you're like, well, I'm just gonna let her live her life.
Oh, guess
like
who's
that.
guess who's about to get a $40 candle for Christmas? Let me tell you something. Anyway,
Can I just tell you, we haven't done a Hollywood break. So much of my job in television has been just making sure that someone's vagina does not show.
great.
Oh,
That's
man.
Because on Bravo, right? You were like on
it's live. It's
Yeah.
Housewives. It's
Housewives.
short dresses.
and do
it's
they
like-
wear underwear? We don't know.
You always know within a minute or two.
My dad still talks about the one woman who came to my wedding who was doing high kicks with no
Sure.
underwear on
Sure.
at the
Oh.
end when everybody was drunk.
Yeah.
And he still talks about it to this day. Never seen anything.
memorable.
He was shocked.
It's memorable. And like, that's no shade. Like, we all have vaginas. They're all in there.
I love
Well,
them
also-
flying
well,
about.
Well, here's
Yeah.
the thing. You had a surprise wedding. So
Yes.
she did not know that she was going to
didn't
be
know.
kicked. She didn't know. She didn't know about the wedding. Did she show up thinking it was a party?
Yeah, she
because-
just thought it was a party. No
So
undies, high kick.
She
So,
just
yeah.
thought she was going to show her vagina at a party and not a wedding.
At a wedding. That makes sense.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, we did it.
We did it. We did another day.
That's it. A week?
A day.
A week.
An hour.
We
We
got
did-
through since last week. This might be a little late. It might not. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, listen. Life is like the pubic hair that peeks out of your high cut leotard being pressed against the pantyhose that you're wearing.
And you
just
don't
never
need to
know.
explain that. You don't need to explain that. Life is like pubic hair pressed against a leotard.
That's
and
right.
Everyone will fucking get it.
That's right. That is. That was actually the
Yeah.
original line in Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
And then there was Robert Zemeckis was like, I feel like this is not relatable. I don't think America's ready for it yet. He was right. He was right. He was right. But you know what, America? You're ready for it now. At least the people listening to this fucking podcast, because you all know what I'm talking about. And anyway, Shantira, can't wait to see you with your new bod.
Thanks.
Very exciting.
That's
I'm
the
very
luck.
Thinking of you. We'll be there with you in spirit.
Me and my T-spine can't wait.
Aw. You're gonna do so good. All right, guys. Well, listen.
Merch is coming.
No, merch is there.
Merch
Go.
is there. You
Yeah.
already swiped up. You already
Swipe
bought
it up.
everything you wanted. And also thanks to everybody who's been downloading the podcast and like sort of recommending it in their year-end recommendations. That's really nice. We got when Spotify had everyone showing their like top things that they were listening
Yeah.
to. We showed up on a lot of those posts, and that was like that blew my mind. That felt amazing, and I just want to say thank you so much for that.
Yeah, me too. I agree. Now it's 9:00 where I am. If you had asked me 1 minute ago, I would have told you it was midnight.
Every night at 4:30, I go, it's midnight. It's midnight. It's midnight all the time. I'm
As
sure
well.
if you're listening to this, it's midnight. Good
It's
night.
permanent midnight.
I mean, it's permanent
We love
midnight right
you.
now. Wait, oh my God, you guys, Erica Cloud was here because she was doing a thing with Casey Musgraves. Erica Cloud was my stylist on Busy Tonight. And they were shooting at my studio at Kaufman Studios. And so I know. So like they had to get tested and the whole thing. But it was crazily last week, my one day off. So when she was leaving work, she was like, this is so lame that like I've been tested and all this stuff. And I was like, well, you want to come over? We can sit in my backyard. It's not too cold. Like we can wear masks and whatever. You got tested anyway and whatever. And she was like, yeah, actually we're just like heading back to the hotel and like, can you give me like an hour? I just need to decompress. And I was like, well, yes, except I have a really big day and a really early call tomorrow. So I just don't know, like just make sure you tell me sooner rather than later. And then from across the room, Mark, who had been like sort of listening to me talk to Erica, yells out, busy. It's 5:20 p.m. And I was like, oh shit, sorry. I thought it was 8 o'clock at night. I like swear to God, if you had, I thought it was 8 at night and she was like, give me an hour. I was like, ugh, by 9, I don't know. I have to like start getting the kids ready for bed. And like, no, it was 5:20.
It's midnight all
An
the
hour's
time.
fine. An hour's fine, turns out. We'll be fine. Well, guys, wherever you are,
It's
I hope it's
midnight.
not too dark. And we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back next week, and so much will be different maybe next week when we talk to you.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I might not be so tired because I won't be working.
I won't be tired because my titties will not be as heavy.
Shantira will have all new tatas.
Yeah.
And you at home, you'll be different too in ways that maybe we know, maybe we don't. Maybe you want to reach out and tell us. And if you do, we appreciate it. All right. Well, that's all. I have to go to bed now.
Yeah, we got to let Busy go to bed. And maybe you have to go to bed too. We love you guys. Thank
Love
you
you.
for hanging out with us.
It's
Really
6
love
o'clock
you.
and I got to go to bed. I'm tired. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh, no.